But yeah, you were saying something about streaming or about not streaming,
pirating
Pirating.
specifically.
Yeah. I was asking Rob if he had ever experienced this phenomenon. We were talking about, I don't want to, spoiler alert, like give away the juice, but I heard you were considering at some point maybe doing like a, talking about Century Media, stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
we had done one.
Well, we did. So there was like a proto version of this podcast where I had done like a lot of episodes where we would just sit with like handheld microphones with no cameras, just in the middle of
when this was still a garage. We just sat in the middle of the garage with microphones. Like, I really like this song. You like this song? I like this song. That's about it.
What do you like about it?
Well, because what I thought was going to originally happen was, okay, this will be really cool. I'll get Robert to like make this, like playlist, right? Like, hey, like, like your journey into this style of music or this whatever. And like Robert took the assignment very seriously and he gave me like a 4-hour long playlist.
Wow.
Yeah.
And because originally
I don't fuck around, man.
Because originally I had thought it would be cool to do that with like a bunch of different people. And then I was like, well, shit, this is like 4 episodes here, Robert. So we just sort of like trying to, started chopping it up and doing, like, okay, sectioning it off or whatever. And then we started coming with other ideas, trying to do other things. And like really just nothing else really worked as well as just me and him just doing stuff. So it just sort of, I was like, all right, well, it's just me and Robert do it.
And that's why it's called the Richard Wooten and Friends podcast.
Yeah. Well,
like the old Garfield cartoon, you got. I'm like Nermal and Odie and the farm animals all in one.
To be fair, motherfucker, I asked you, like after we did the first 2 in this setup, like where we did the cameras and all that sort of stuff, I was like, this is really kind of like an us thing, and I was like, how involved do you want to be? And you were like, not.
That's true. I think I kind of expected more people to be in on it at that point still, though. Because I guess if we had gotten to like 50 episodes and it was still like just my name down here in impact font, maybe, I don't know.
To be fair, I thought that there would be more. But you're available.
Super available.
More than anyone else.
It's an important quality.
Yeah.
Availability. But Century Media.
Yeah. So we had did one. And I think I had even sent you that playlist. And was like, what do you think about like talking about this at some point?
Oh, yeah, I think that does sound familiar.
But yeah, because Century Media was really, really, that was a really important label to me because of the ID3 and the ID4 sample CDs, because those were my gateway to extreme music. That was my like big push to stuff outside of things that I was seeing in, like Metal Edge or Hit Parader or that like friends were, that like that you were going to buy at Sam Goody and stuff like that. So Century Media was like a big deal for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were gatekeepers in a good way. But it reminded me of this phenomenon that I used to experience when I was pirating a lot of metal. And it happened, I feel like it happened the most with Century Media. But I think it happened with other labels as well, where they would like insert like an audio watermark in the song to like deter piracy.
Okay.
And so you'd be like listening to like the latest like Nevermore album, and it'd be like, and the river dragon you are listening to the new Nevermore album on Century Media Records has come, or whatever.
Like it dips out. And
like the music gets quiet and then like a random dude's voice comes up. You're listening to the new Nevermore album.
Wow.
And it was really goofy, and it really took you out of it.
Oh my God. That's,
you never experienced that?
I did not.
Man.
I did not.
I feel like I had like a lot of songs on Napster that had that happen.
Wild. Maybe all the ones that I had just didn't give a shit enough to try to do that.
That's a lot of effort.
Yeah. The phenomenon I did have a lot was just like a song by like Megadeth being called like Metallica or where it's just the band is named incorrectly. So there was a lot of music for quite a while that I didn't know who actually did it.
Yeah.
Because of that sort of thing.
Me and Jed still fight because so do you remember the Freddy versus Jason soundtrack by any chance?
Somewhat.
Wasn't there like rap on it and also metal?
No.
Oh.
There was not.
That was I mean, that was Judgment Night.
First, it was Judgment Night, but then there was like the Spawn soundtrack where they're like, "We're gonna do that, but with techno."
Hell yeah, man! Slayer and Atari Teenage Riot. You fucking kidding me? Let's go.
Yeah, and but Freddy vs. Jason was just like a bunch of like, oh, here's an Il Nino song and a Spine Change song and a Lamb of God song and an In Flames song, and it was just a song. I mean, maybe there's some alternate version out there that I don't fucking know about, but that's the version I had, and like I remember like listening to like a certain Il Nino song and Jet being like, "Oh yeah, that's the one they did with Orbital, right?" Or some shit like that. I was like, no, that's just Il Nino. But because when he fucking torrented it, it was
the metadata was all fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, no, people would just name shit.
Yeah.
In a certain way.
Gotcha.
Like a big one that I always remember is there was a weird. It wasn't metal. It was just like. It sounded like System of a Down, but apparently it wasn't. But it was some band doing the Legend of Zelda theme. And they created like lyrics for it and shit, but it sounds like Surge and System of a Down. It's got that like that wacky quality to it, but apparently it's not. It's great though, but it was labeled System of a Down because somebody thought it was. So stuff like that. Yeah.
That's a totally different. That's a different time, man. Like you would just have like, oh man, I have this like CD of music that if a friend gave me, and I don't know who it is.
Yep, just an MP3 disc with like 300 songs on it. Awesome. Didn't know who any of them were.
I miss those days when there was some little bit of mystery involved.
A little bit of danger.
Yeah, that's true. That's true because that is definitely that's definitely gone.
It felt like you were. I don't have a good analogy, but it felt like you were sort of actively and slowly chipping away at like the universe of things there is to know about music with each discovery that you made. It was like an incremental like chipping away at the mystery of like what's all out there, and you don't know how big the ocean is.
Yeah,
it could be 1,000 cool bands or it could be 100 cool bands. Like how many more bands are like Opeth? I don't know. Let me look it up, like Dan Swano, like who's he influenced by? Like, and you were kind of incrementally widening your field of view of what was out there because that was just the limitation that we had. And now there's like, it's all algorithmically driven, which is amazing because you can find things so much quicker, and you can find, because everything has been meticulously like metadata tagged or whatever. It's like, you can look things up basically just by like, vibe like Opeth plus Spine Shank, and it's like the algorithm's like, oh, here's what you want, and it gives you exactly what you were looking for.
Like, Nimic. Yeah. There you go.
I mean, you can type that into an AI art generator, and it'll spit you out an album cover of that band also.
Oh my god, when are they going to come out with an AI music, like a song generator?
There was a proto version of that in like the mid 90s, and it was something that was packed into Windows, I think 98. I can't remember what it was called.
I knew Windows 98 was ahead of its time.
Absolutely. It was really bad, though. I can't remember what it's called. I heard a podcast about it recently, but it was like this generative music program, and it did exactly that, where it's like you feed it. I can't remember if you feed it a stem and it tries to build it off of that, or if you feed it keywords or whatever it was. But it was sort of a similar thing. Wow. Really ahead of its time, didn't work, and so it didn't go anywhere. But they should totally do that again.
I knew Bill Gates earned all that money for something.
That's fucking DOS. Fuck that. No, man. This garbage art program. Have you seen any of the AI art generated stuff?
I have. And
dude, it like as a horror fan, that's all it creates is absolute horror.
I guess so.
None of it's good, but it's good. It's for what I want. You know?
Yeah, there is like it does pull on those threads of like cosmic horror.
There's an artist, a Polish artist named I think Czesław Beksinski is his name.
Okay.
And he's like famous for doing this like horrific World War I inspired like cosmic horror-ish.
Okay.
Just absolute depression and death and all this stuff. A lot of the stuff that comes out of those programs looks like what he does. But like unintentionally so, because everything is just so warped and melted into itself and unintelligible. Right. But like if you like glance out of the corner of your eye, it looks like something.
Right.
But then you look right at it and it's just a horror, you know?
Yeah. Like there's not a it's abstract, but it's not. It's abstract in a way that feels wrong.
Yeah, it's extremely like computer trying to be human energy.
Yeah.
Which is the best, but also the worst.
Uncanny maybe is another way to describe it. But
Absolutely.
Like, it's like abstract, but not intentionally. It's actually trying very hard not to be abstract. It's like trying to represent something it thinks is real, but it doesn't know the difference between real and abstract. So what it ends up creating is like this weird uncanny thing where you know what it's trying to say and you can feel it just the same as if it was not abstract, but it kind of is.
Yes. It's the best.
Yeah, that is.
It's real gross.
That is horror. That is horror.
But yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah, those are awesome.
But also you can just type in like show me the Grimace winning the NBA championship, and it shows you that. It's horrible, but that's what that is.
Huh.
And you can recognize it.
Yeah, the Grimace has the fucking trophy.
As long as you don't scrutinize it too much, you're like, yeah, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't. A friend of mine was talking to me about all that stuff, and he was like very sort of like. Somehow it got real quickly went to the subject of like transhumanism, of this like, integration of biology and technology kind of stuff.
Cybernetic organism.
Yeah, and I was like, man, I just think that this is just going to be another way to not pay artists for doing things. Is like the first that's like the first thing that like occurs to me, because whenever like someone is able to okay, well I need these images, or I need this, or even with music, right? Like I need music that isn't going to be copyright flagged as anything else to fit this commercial that feels like these songs. Like I need it to feel like U2 but wistful beautiful day or something like that, and then it generates something that's like has a good enough 30 seconds to use in your movie or whatever,
right?
You know what I mean? Like that's where I see that stuff ending up.
Well, it's like, I mean, I'm sure I'm not the first person to draw this parallel, but it's like when mechanization entered because of the Industrial Revolution, and people were really sad because like, dudes who used to like bend pipes for a living no longer had a job. Mm-hmm. And that was like, there was something sad about that, but ultimately it's probably better that like humans don't have to bend pipes, I guess, right? They can be free to do other things. But art is like, you should probably have that still, even if a machine could do it. It's probably beneficial to society and humanity if people are still doing it. Like, whereas pipe bending doesn't necessarily have to involve a human, I guess. There's probably some benefits to that as well, but it's different when we're talking about like creating something. I don't know, maybe bending pipes is art. Who's to say?
I'm sure somebody's doing it out there somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there is, I mean, well, and there is always, at the advent of any sort of technology, there's, amongst musicians in particular, like there's always resistance. Like people were like harpsichord players and clavinet? No. Oh God.
That sounds like a real word.
Clavier?
Well, because I think like one is like an electronic sound, like the Stevie Wonder song that everyone fucking references, Superstition. Like that's a clavinet sound. But man, whatever. My brain's not firing. But like the keyed stringed instrument that preceded the piano, right? When the piano was invented, people were mad as fuck about it. They're like, "Oh, this is a stupid fucking instrument." Blah 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 blah.
Wait till they see the player piano.
Yeah. And so, but there's always that there's always resistance at that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, how many times have you heard it's getting better now, but there's still that one dude that's like, triggers are cheating, mm-hmm. In the metal drumming and stuff like that, or whatever. And it's, it's just an integration of the music, of the instrument with technology. I mean, I'm sure people bitched about electric guitars and like amplification and like, you can't, it's not really playing that.
Sure. You can't play that loud for real. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
What?
it's like, did people bitch whatever? Did people get mad when they put snares on the bottom of snare drums so that you could
Probably.
better hear the exact cadence they were doing as they were trying to communicate things over miles and distances and whatnot? There was just one rip ass fucking drummer who could like play with that amazing articulation on some fucking like big ass fucking stupid drum, and then here comes some asshole who barely practiced with a snare drum. It's like, it would be louder than that, you know. But
if the question is, were people mad when X changed? The answer is always yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
The answer is always yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember hearing, it was actually like, it was at this workshop with Adam Deitch and this band he's in called Break Science. But them talking about like that, because what they do is they sort of are like, they blur the lines between like jam band and like electronic music, like on stage, like there's with a laptop piano sequencer or whatever, like doing that with a live drummer, building loops and doing it all sort of organically. And just sort of, but the whole like sort of theme of the workshop and everything was sort of that, you know, like, what did he say? He said, be a bridge between two worlds, you know, like this kind of idea of like, oh, you're in the, you know, you're in the classical world and you're in the electronic world. We'll combine those and push it forward. People are going to always have resistance to those types of things, but blah, 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 you know? And it was just such a cool perspective to hear, because I grew up in, I don't know why, but I remember growing up in an environment where older musicians always seemed very curmudgeonly.
Oh, yeah.
And very much like, well, there's a right way to do it, and this is it, and you can do it the wrong way if you want to, I guess. And to hear older musicians that I respected that were sort of like, you know, yeah, no, man, mix this with that, whatever, you know, blah, 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 and just didn't have any weird sort of hierarchical hang-ups. And it was really cool and inspirational to hear that, but also really surprising to hear that historical tidbit about like, yeah, the piano, people were mad about the fucking piano.
Sure, yeah.
Go ahead.
What's interesting about the art stuff is like, obviously that argument immediately came up, which was like, or the worry, you know, like, oh shit, what now? It's going to automate our jobs away. And that is a natural thing to think, I think. Yeah, I said think a lot there. But it seems like what's happening is a computer is never going to be able to do art the way a human can do art.
Right.
It's just not, it's not something, because all that it's doing is referencing and relating and approximating. It's not being creative.
Right.
And so the interesting thing that's kind of happened is because of how like weirdly ambiguous and sort of some uncanny and somewhat off and sort of vague and general these things end up being, what is actually coming of it is like, it's good for concept art. Because the whole point of concept art is to give you an idea.
Yeah.
Right?
Sure.
Not to be the art for the thing, but just to plant a seed.
Sure.
And that kind of makes sense. And that seems to me where it's going to shine.
Sure.
I don't think it's going to put...
Interesting.
It might put concept artists out of business to some extent.
Yeah.
But probably not to the extent that people think.
Well, and like that's the thing too. I remember reading Sidney Lumet's book called Making Movies, and he he did 12 Angry Men and fucking Network. That's the one that's like the one that I know him for so much, and Dog Day Afternoon.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah.
He's one of the best like filmmakers. It's like
12 Angry Men is like top tier.
Right. And he's really interesting. But anyway, this is one little, not to go off on a whole Sidney Lumet tangent, but there was a very specific thing where he talked about that there's been no improvement in technology, no advent in technology that decreased workload.
Yeah.
In the film industry. Because he was like, we used to mix the entire sound for a movie in one fucking day. Like, we would go and we would sit in the theater, hands on the fucking faders, run that shit to print, and turn that shit up and down as the fucking movie played. And we would do that a few times. And then the third time was the one that we kept. You know, he's like, now it takes me, I mean, and the book was written, I guess, probably maybe in the fucking 2000s or something, maybe.
Okay.
You know, and he's like, now it takes me fucking 4 weeks to do the sound mix.
Huh.
You know, because it's so complicated. It's done digitally. It's on, it's all, you know.
Well, there's a lot more variables and things to change and tweak and perfect. And
Exactly. Yeah.
were not even possible. There's like, it's like you were seeing in fewer dimensions or hearing in fewer dimensions before. And now you've like opened up more dimensions to manipulate.
Yeah.
And each one of those dimensions now may take, it requires its own set of, scrutiny and tactics to deal with.
Right. And they're kind of like becomes this, I don't know, man. It's like it only kind of, this is a thing that I wanted to get into a little later in a sense, I guess. But there almost becomes like an upping the ante, right? Like if there's one person who does their sound mix in a movie to that degree, or does their color grading in a movie to that degree, or changes the lighting on the screen in subtle ways to guide your eye where they want you to focus during a dialogue and stuff like that, then kind of everyone has to do it now if you're going to compete in that space. And so once someone gives you that score and that sound design and everything that is like perfectly EQ'd and just works amazingly well, blah 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 blah, you can't like fucking put a movie out that has like has a score that sounds like 1972 and sound designed like 1972 unless that's an intentional part of your art.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And that could be for better or for worse too, because like there was a good 10-year stretch pretty recently where everything sounded like a fucking Christopher Nolan movie.
Yeah.
Just drowned out and just dialogue mixed way to the back here and just can't hear anything. And
Yeah. Are they still like making movies really dark? Is that still a thing?
Maybe.
Yes.
Haven't seen a new movie in a while.
I remember the worst culprit to me, besides the like Game of Thrones episode, was this is kind of a stretch. The Alien versus Predator Requiem movie.
I think I missed that one.
Yeah.
You didn't miss much, man. It was a real, and I'm a fan. Okay, I'm a fan. Like,
it sounds like even if you watch it, you missed it because it was too damn dark.
Dude, fucking for real, dude.
Got him.
Like, you went through all this effort to fucking have like a predator suit and a dude and all that and fucking aliens and
I would be lighting it from every angle as bright as possible.
Yeah,
under
how badass
fluorescent
this
lights.
is.
yeah, like have it like a football game and like but it's like because they tried to make it like a horror movie but it's an action whatever but it's like there's this crazy fight scene you can't fucking tell what's happening. It's fucking it's like, well, I bet that was cool.
I'm paying $12 for a cinema. I want to see every speck of dust
everything
on the predator's nutsack.
That's what I
God
paid
damn
for.
it.
So I don't know. Oh man, just leave it to AVP to fucking kill the momentum. But yeah, I guess
as per usual.
But I guess like with the AI art and stuff, like you'll just like because whatever I don't want to make a generalization like that. I would, like you were saying, like I wouldn't be surprised if, okay, well, what artists can do with that or what artists can be inspired to do with that will be valuable and unique.
Yeah.
And
I think that's what it's going to come down to is that it's going to become just another tool for artists to use. And maybe on some level, if you're, because some places do employ like concept artists, or at least they contract them out or something like that, for films or games or whatever. But maybe some of them don't have the money to pay for one, and they just use this and make do, or whatever.
Right, because there is going to always sort of be that sort of a context and a discernment, and you just don't get that without someone who's just really spent the time in the craft, to know what's good about a thing, like it. You have to have like recorded a lot of music to know when a take is good, even, or to know when a song is good. You can't, and so if someone who doesn't have that contextual knowledge and that discernment and that depth, like they're not gonna know if it's, you know what I mean? Like there might be a great idea in it, but then it might be non-functional in a sense, and they're not going to be able to discern it. So,
yeah, exactly.
I also think that people are generally very bad at predicting with any level of precision the eventual importance of new technologies or the lack thereof.
Totally.
They tend to like way overvalue things that become novelties at best.
for sure.
And way undervalue things that transform society. You know, there's very few people that like can actually see the future in that regard. And I think any new technology that comes up is going to have a lot of momentum at first because of the novelty of it, and maybe a few like proofs of concept that like kind of blow people's socks off or whatever, and then it just kind of fizzles out. And then you might have the exact inverse where something that doesn't look all that interesting or cool like immediately ends up being the most important technological advancement, you know?
I mean, that's like Facebook, right? Like I didn't, I was like, oh, okay, cool, whatever. You know, it was years before I got on Facebook. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I thought I would be the king of MySpace forever. And here we are. I was coding my own HTML pages on MySpace, and now look at us.
Well, partially it was because I didn't go to a cool college, so I wasn't allowed access to Facebook.
Speaking of gatekeeping.
Oh, yeah. It was only like certain universities at first and whatnot.
Fucking Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah. Like that. Like Allison's like an OG fucking Facebook user.
Yeah, my login is my uh.edu address. Still.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm better than you. Just kidding.
You are. Your college costs more than my college, so you're a higher class citizen than I am.
Hey, I don't make the rules.
And you have you have a job where you use your degree, and so
barely.
I got a physics degree, and I can't even get a job using a physics degree.
And I've got a physics degree.
You mean to tell me you got a physics degree and you can't even figure out how to use your physics degree?
Yeah, it is. Like you're about to use it for lever or something.
He didn't get a degree in job hunting. He got a degree in physics.
Yeah. Put the cart before the horse there.
Yeah.
But
you should have got your degree in recruitment so you could recruit yourself.
There it is. There it is.
That's thinking.
But yeah, I didn't think that like, oh yeah, cool, this is gonna radicalize my uncle, you know, like, or this is gonna
oh God, yeah. Can you imagine?
You know, like, oh man, I better not try to look up my ex on here because eventually this is, you know, my grandma is gonna send me memes about how the Jews are really behind everything, you know. So,
yeah,
it's probably good for society.
It's probably not good. Yeah, it's not good because I like my metal drum nerds group, you know. Anyway, that's the first thing that came to my mind when you're talking about, like, you know, you're not able to predict these things.
Yeah, I think there's probably a weird difference. I can't think of enough technologies to talk about like that, but there's probably a weird dividing line between like the technology being used for a specific purpose and then like kind of what Facebook is, which is like just what it became good for, which is kind of like mass mailing your shitty message out to everybody and and then siloing them off to where they can not have alternative viewpoints.
Well, and it didn't start that way.
That's kind of what I mean. Yeah.
You know, right. Yeah. It didn't start that way. It started, and like for the longest time, they were very intentional, but like no ads. Ads aren't cool. Blah, 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 blah. And they just sort of waited, it seems, until the older demographic got hooked. And then they were like, yeah, man, fucking Ford truck month. Like, fucking do it. You know, put those.
Well, speaking of like people hating things that change, I remember when Facebook changed like the timeline from like a wall. It used to be called a wall.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they changed it to a timeline. And that was like one of those, you know, forks in the road that led to the path that we're now on, because that was just them trying to like increase engagement by like curating algorithmically the content that you're seeing as opposed to a sequential list of random posts from your friends.
Right.
Facebook said, man, at a certain point, people's friends list probably get too big. It gets beyond Dunbar's number or whatever. Let's curate it for them, you know, and probably from a benevolent point of view, they're like, well, we can give them more things that are relevant to them, and also we'll drive more engagement. And then that like fork point is like, basically that was the path that took us down to the point where your uncle gets radicalized, right? Because it just got really good at that and unintentionally or not, you know.
Yeah, like it keeps sort of like sharpening and refining that blade of like, like A/B testing into oblivion.
Because if you're on that Facebook team, you're building that software. Like, what do you want to do? You want to fucking optimize it.
Right.
You want to make it better.
Yeah.
Doing whatever it does. And if no one's there to be like, hey, this could be bad for a laundry list of reasons, then which is apparently something they didn't have for a very long time, and maybe kind of don't anymore.
Yeah, there's highly recommend the Behind the Bastards episodes on Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. I'm not gonna do a good job recapping that shit, but it's pretty mind blowing. Like, so here's sort of like an example of the things of like rolling out Facebook into countries or regions where they have no understanding of the culture there, to the point to where they don't even have the sort of the user agreement in the language of the country that they're putting it in. Like, there's no one on Facebook staff that knows anything about what's going on in there, and so then they will outsource it to the users themselves to find problematic posts, like posts that are like inciting genocide and things like that. You know what I mean? And they can't be like bothered to employ people. Like, oh well, it looks like these people are trying to get a bunch of people together to go kill a bunch of other people. Well, both sides. Oh man, I'm just one person. Da 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 da. So.
I mean, the argument from those companies is always like, we don't want to put the message up there. We don't want to limit the message. We just want to make the message available, whatever the message may be. But that can't be how it works.
Yeah, and but it like anyway.
Ironically, like that might be an argument in favor of like corporate bureaucracies, because they have a governing effect on moving too quickly and doing things without having some level of like what seems probably like bullshit red tape at the time, or like administrative overhead. Generally those things are put in place to like limit the risk of the entity that's trying to do something. And Facebook didn't really have those things because their motto was literally move fast, break things.
Right.
Yeah, literally.
Right.
So they were like, no, that's not how we operate. And they moved so fast and broke so many things that they accidentally might have incited genocide. Whoops. Like,
yeah. Well,
so maybe it's okay to like slow down sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they were in this new space where there wasn't sort of a clean line of accountability either. Whereas if like in like older industries or whatever, oh, sorry, like this, oh, I made a product and, or like I made some animal crackers and a bunch of fucking people ate it and used it, and then they used them the wrong way and a bunch of fucking people died. And it's like, oh, well, fucking you're accountable for that. You made your product, like these people would not have died if they did not encounter your product. You're accountable for that in some sense. And like with the social media stuff, there's no clear lines on any of that, because it's still a young phenomenon, and whatnot.
Yeah, like for annoying as like bureaucracy can be, and for as much evil as it can be used for, like there is a reason that it was developed and is put in place.
Yeah,
it just doesn't always get used for that.
I suppose not.
So,
and I don't remember using Facebook to like discover cool new music. That was all MySpace.
Yeah,
that's true.
All of the tours I ever was on were booked on MySpace and like facilitated via MySpace almost 95%.
Yep.
So maybe we really lost something with MySpace there.
Yeah, we owe Tom an apology.
We didn't know what we had.
He's still my only friend.
I mean, in a lot of ways. Well, in a lot of ways, like, yeah, because I don't know, man. I don't know. It's hard for me to like really engage in that in like a I think an objective way, just because of the age. Because we're like how old are you?
35.
5. Okay, so we're like 4 years older than you. That's what I thought. And so when MySpace was around, how old were you? Like when you got your MySpace account?
Yeah, I mean high school. I
high
guess.
School?
Yeah.
Where I was a sophomore, junior. I was in like my third or fourth year of college.
Like 20, 21, something like that.
Yeah. I was already at Lamar, so I'd already done like 3 years of community college. So, you know, like well into adult, and you know what I mean? And so like that, I don't have as much of a, and then it seemed like pretty quickly, like it was like, oh, well, this is really cool for like a few years. And like, oh, I reconnected with some people from high school. Oh, cool. Neat. Right. And then within a few years, it was like, oh, well, now it's all about Facebook.
Yeah, that stuff was moving really fast because early on you were like in chat rooms or you were on AIM.
Yeah,
just like finding people to talk to, or you were in IRC if you were really fucking cool or playing games. And then MySpace sort of brought that to a wider group of people and let them socialize better than LiveJournal and then
But I remember a big part of MySpace was like, you know, like it was music.
Yeah.
That was a big part of it.
Because there was a song you could have when somebody came to your page, and you could put all your songs on there.
I remember doing that.
Yeah, all my bands had like that we would use a little, you know, whatever flash player that was.
Thing,
yeah.
Wheel player.
I remember the all severed MySpace.
Yeah.
You know, we did all that shit, and
we had an Angel Fire site also.
We're old. Because we had a site in high school.
Yeah. HTML. Not pains. What's the word? Shitty old site.
I know what you're trying to say. I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
Oh man,
okay, I don't know. I can't think of it. Damn it.
But yeah,
this podcast is sponsored by Squarespace. When are you getting the sponsorships, bro?
Oh man, probably when I have more than 10 viewers per episode.
Blue Chew.
I feel like Squarespace is just throwing them out like candy.
Maybe so.
Pretty much.
Maybe so.
They have been for a long time.
Yeah, but their sponsorship will be like, we'll give you a discount. We'll give, on your own website.
Right.
That'll be the sponsorship. Yeah, I don't know, but I do remember like, I don't know. So much of it was just attached to like dating, and like trying. Like, that's why I, like, signed up for Facebook, was I was like, oh, well, this girl I like's on Facebook. Or this ex of mine is on Facebook that I'm...
That's not a good reason.
No, it's not. It's been trouble ever since. But that was, like, kind of the onset. That was, like, what it was intended for from the very beginning.
Right, yeah.
You know?
The Facebook, yeah.
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 I put it off for a very long time, and then I think like 2010, 11, something like that, I finally signed up for it because people were like, we want to be able to invite you to these things that we're doing. And I was like, that's reason enough. And then I posted like 10 times and never used it past that. So.
Yeah, that's probably healthy, I guess. Anyway, no one wants to talk about Facebook.
No one wants to talk about Facebook.
No one wants to talk about this shit.
The last hour is going to be edited out.
The last hour? We're going to come back around. We're going to have an inspired Facebook thing. I don't know, man. More than anything, is it just fucking bums me out. Because
what, just Facebook in general? Or?
Yeah, man, because like I want to see, I want to like, as like an engagement, I don't want to unfollow people. I don't want to like be forced to unfollow people like for like my mental fucking health. It's like, oh yeah, man, dude, I'd love to be friends with my friend's dad. Sure, yeah, man. I'm totally cool with that dude seeing pictures of my kid and yeah, for sure. And then it's like, goddamn, every day you got to put in like an anti-trans meme? Every day? Every day? God damn it. All right, sorry, bye-bye, dude. Like, whatever,
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I wouldn't mind seeing my friend's dad at a bar once every 2 years. That's cool. But not being my friend on social media. Like, I think that's too much.
Yeah.
Not everyone needs to be in that space, I think.
Well, like I mentioned before when we got into this shit a little bit, like a few months ago, it's like I don't seek these fuckers out.
They seek you out.
Yeah, like send me the friend request that I'm like, okay, well, yeah, sure. I remember hanging with you that one time. That was nice. Okay. And then like now I just like see the garbage that they just fucking intake. And it's like...
And exhale.
Yeah. It's like, man, like, I don't know, man. It bums me out because it's like, I don't know.
Like it could be better?
I think it bums me out because I see what that approximates of like of seeing the people that you care about on a regular basis. And I like that. I miss that, you know? And I miss being able to, like, if my cousin or my friend's dad or whatever is going to say, like, some crazy inflammatory thing, being able to, you know, like, while we're watching the Super Bowl or whatever, to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know, like, having that space to do that there in person and then not have to do it publicly. And now I'm arguing with all his boomer friends too. And all this sort of stuff, and it just becomes like sort of like a flag waving, like, signaling ground or whatever, you know. It's a show of force and numbers and stuff like that. And it was like, I don't know, but I'm still, like, nostalgic for the social situations where I would be around these people.
Sure.
I think that's why it makes me sad.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
You know,
it's a poor facsimile of an actual social interaction, and it kind of, because of the format and the mechanism, it doesn't really facilitate a more meaningful connection, because you don't have you know, basic stuff like eye contact and body language and you know, real time
tone of voice, all
like,
these things we use to communicate.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
So
instead, I'll just like it, or I'll put a crying, laughing face at something you said that was really serious. Because fuck you.
Yeah, because fuck you. Yeah. So, I don't know. I talk about it too much.
I mean, we can talk about MySpace some more.
Again, like, you talk about MySpace, and I think about, like, booking all severed shows, and I think about the girl I was dating when I used MySpace. That's all I think about. But
I still say the best one is Twitter, because I only follow people on it. I don't use it myself.
Okay.
I use it. I follow news. I find out news of the world. I see funny shit. I see educational shit, and then I see video game shit, and that's what I look at.
Created your own, and you don't know any of those people.
Exactly. That's the key. Don't know any of them. That's the more of them you know, the more you can see that maybe the cracks start to show, and you're like, unfollow that person.
I see.
Use it as a information repository. You don't put yourself out there, because that's how you get hurt.
That's Robert's. That's Robert's whole thing.
Hey man, I'm with you there. Don't give them too much.
Yeah. Not those fuckers.
Not me, man. I'm always putting up too much out there, and always getting hurt.
That's why we love you.
Well, you know, it's just what I am, I guess. I guess we can kind of, like, talk about the shit we were going to talk about.
Let's talk about some shit.
All right, so the premise of the episode was that you're moving.
That is the premise.
Let's talk about. Well, I don't want to say where you're going, because I don't know if you want to say that. So.
Because
no one can know.
Exactly.
Yeah, because it was like, I don't know. It was just a lot of fun the last time, and I don't know. You're a smart dude. You have lots of really cool insights on all this musical shit that I'm interested in.
Debatable.
And
plus, you really liked reinventing the steel, and I just want to put you under a microscope.
It's like, who is this guy?
Who is this strange?
Well, let the record show that there was a YouTube comment on the episode
there was
that
one.
totally vindicated me.
Oh man, good. Great.
Well, to be fair,
but one, just one.
His big point, his big tirade was that we were misrepresenting history, in a sense.
Oh yeah, he even used the word revisionist history.
Yeah, that's the word. Revisionist history.
Revisioning the steel. I'm gonna read that comment.
You're right. No, he didn't actually have qualitative arguments about the music per se, right? His argument was that, like, you've created a false narrative about the context in which it was released, and like that Pantera hated it and everyone hated it, and he's like, in fact, Pantera loved it. They supported it. They weren't fighting during it. All of that happened after it came out, and all this other stuff. And but he didn't actually say the music is good. So maybe I wasn't vindicated.
Interesting.
I mean, I can get how someone could get, like, rubbed the wrong way, because sometimes I'll get excited and I'll speculate and then be like, I can imagine Phil, like, God damn it, Phil, stop doing fucking heroin and get your ass to Dallas so we can fucking write a goddamn record. Like, I can but of course I don't fucking know. I don't know what was going on. But I also know all the other fucking music that, like, I know, okay, so they did Trendkill in 96, and then Reinvent still wasn't until 2000. Yeah. And Phil released a lot of weird underground crazy fucking metal records in that period. So he was doing something that was not Pantera. So there's some reason for that. Because anyway, the episode is back there. Y'all can go check it out.
Yeah. We said a lot of nice things about Pantera for a long time. So...
Yeah. I mean,
could take some shit talking
for sure. But so like we had thrown this idea about like, having you back. Okay, we'll have you back talk about Metallica. We'll have you back talk about this. And it was like, oh shit, you're leaving in like 13 days or some shit. All right, well, I'm just gonna make some crazy fucking playlist and we're gonna talk about all of it.
We're gonna talk about your music.
Yeah, we're
rapid fire round.
Yeah. It's so I made a playlist of songs that either we have. Songs or bands or songs off of albums that we have talked about explicitly already, that we've had conversations about, or that I know that we both have a relationship with of some sense, or maybe something I wanted to bounce off of you, or songs from bands whose concerts we've seen each other at. Now let me clarify: these are not like, hey man, you want to go see this band together? No. Like, we're just there independently and like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happened with another person as much as it's, or like a closer friend of mine, as much as it's happened with you.
Was it you guys that we saw at Machine Head? Was it Baroness?
Baroness and Deaf Heaven.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we ran into him and Amanda.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. Even me.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'm a man about town.
Yeah.
And, So that's the kind of the idea I had of the playlist, and also the spirit of it was like I didn't want to ask you to have to do work. I didn't want to ask you to make a playlist. I was like, let me just fucking do my best. And
here's a bunch of stuff you probably already know.
Yeah. That you don't have to think about it.
Have
you
some
know
opinions
what I mean?
about.
And so, and there's sort of like some concepts and some ideas that these songs sort of represent that I want to riff on. But I didn't tell y'all what those are, so we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, so what did you think of the list I sent you?
Yeah, we were briefly texting about it. I'll pull it up again just so it's fresh in my mind. But I felt like I didn't want to over prepare, so I wanted to kind of make the conversation relatively free flowing. But just glancing through the list, and it was. I felt like it was ripe for ideas to talk about beyond the notes on the page, so to speak. I mean, a lot of stuff in here has like I have very strong like connotations to, like they make me think of very specific times in my life and like specific points in my journey and things like that. And also just a couple of funny ones too that are going to be fun to talk about. But yeah, it's like it's like kind of a combination of like memory lane and also like a few things that I don't have a strong like memory of, but I feel like even almost wistful that I don't, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. Yeah, because a big part of my sort of trip the past I guess like 6 years since I started to like really like, oh fuck, I just fucking love death metal, has been going back and trying to uncover all these stones and things that I missed, and so, and a lot of this I did hear like, so, but anyway, so I understand what you're saying about like this kind of like wistful, like I don't have an attachment to this, but I kind of almost, I don't know, like Suffocation is a big one for me because Suffocation I didn't get into until like 2016, 2017, but I feel like that's a band if I would have heard them back in the late 90s, I would have like they would have been my favorite band then too, or one of my favorite bands then too. So there's this kind of like this I don't know. It's an interesting thing that I think is like kind of speaks to our music discovery process growing up, that we were kind of limited. Like we couldn't just like, all right, well, let me just listen to all of the 30 old school death metal bands and pick my favorite one.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, which you can do now. You know, you can be like, oh, I don't really prefer Cannibal Corpse. I think, you know what, but Death is a little too meh. You know, Gorgut's a little too, you know, Pestilence. Pestilence. I love Pestilence. You know, like you can A/B test all of these things down to your exact taste.
You can find all the stuff you like and make a playlist out of it. Whereas before, you had to have all of those CDs available to make your CD out of it. Yeah.
Which I may still have. I may have all these CDs, but that's neither here nor there.
One of the like, you know, speaking of like, you know, technology changing, you know, things and sometimes good, bad, neutral ways. One of the things that like it makes me kind of sad, I guess, or yeah, I guess sad is the right word, is the fact that like I think also that's just a function of getting older and just getting lazier with like the content that I consume, and maybe the system has made me lazy, you know, but like I don't create playlists. Do you guys create playlists?
Not even at all. Not even
all the time.
Okay.
In fact, only when we do it for this show is when I create a playlist. I'm an album person. It's through
Interesting.
And through.
Okay. Okay.
You know, okay, I make playlists for like runs and things like that.
Fair.
And then we'll make playlists of like a few albums that like, okay, well, these are albums I need to listen to, you know, at some point like that. You know what I mean? But
that's like a playlist in the most like pedantic sense.
Yeah, I guess so.
I see what you mean though.
Yeah. But you mean like sort of like curating
the analog, or I mean the actual like specific thing that I'm thinking of that I used to do back in the day is burn a CD, not even an MP3 CD, because I think this was even like before I really knew how to do that, or that was even much of a thing. But like burn a physical CD of like 12 to 15 songs of random shit that you downloaded on Napster, you know, and just replaying it over and over again, because that was just like the best, you know, course of the best option that you had.
Yeah.
And nowadays, again, I think it's a function of a lot of things, like me getting older and the system getting simpler and the system making it easy to be lazy. But like, I don't ever really curate much about any content that I consume anymore, and music being really no exception, to the point where, and I feel guilty about it. And I was actually going to say, one of the things that this list almost made me feel a little bit of is it makes me kind of feel like an imposter sometimes, because I'll know like one song in a genre that I want to listen to, and it could be technical death metal, and it could be like R&B, or it can be like bluegrass, right? I'll know one example of that, and I'll just let the algorithm start a playlist off of that and just allow the music to kind of flow over me. And occasionally maybe something will stand out and I'll go out of my way to like favorite it or something like that. But like, it's a very passive experience now. And music in many ways for me has just become a afterthought, or just something that I passively consume, as opposed to something that I'm like actively trying to curate and find, because it feels too easy and it doesn't feel special and there's no mystery anymore. I'm like, well, at any moment in time, if I feel the hankering to listen to something, I can just go find it, you know?
It's kind of like staring at your Netflix queue and just not watching anything.
Exactly.
For like an hour.
Yeah.
And so are you typically listening to music while you're doing other things?
I don't even listen to music that much anymore, but when I do, it's usually while I'm doing other things. My favorite time to listen to music is like on a Saturday or a Sunday morning when I first wake up and I'm just drinking coffee, maybe making breakfast. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, trying not to just like watch TV or just sit on the couch. I'll just put on some music. That's my favorite time to listen to music. And then my other favorite time to listen to music is when I'm at work and I have the opportunity to have some time where I can just focus on something for like an unbroken block of time.
Right.
Which, just due to my career, has become less and less frequent. I don't have like long stretches of time where I have no interruptions anymore.
I see.
And so even that has been taken away from me. And then the other time when I used to listen to a lot of music was when I was traveling for work, which since COVID doesn't happen really much at all.
Okay.
So like in the plane or like in the rental car or whatever, these are like my sanctuaries where I was just by myself, no distractions, and I could just listen to stuff. And my opportunities for that are I guess fewer and further between these days. And when I do get them, I'm usually like too tired or lazy to actually actively consume media,
Sure.
But
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
this is now a therapy session for me. Though.
Music. Yeah. Yeah. It is, because like sometimes I will, like, because I have a very sort of, my day job is a very sort of like tedious, monotonous thing where I don't have to fight. Like, I just have to answer emails. I have to talk to people. I don't really have any interruptions. You know what I mean? So I can just listen to stuff uninterrupted. But depending on like my mood and my headspace and sort of like how much extra bandwidth I have will depend on what I listen to and how much I am paying attention to it.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So I might just find like a synthwave playlist or something like that, listen to that, and not even pay attention to what artists are on there at all. But then I also might be very intentionally listening to an album that a friend sent me, or because like our friend CJ, he sends me about like an album or two per week.
Nice.
I think you'll dig this, and it's all amazing. It's all indigenous black metal. You're gonna fucking like this. It's all amazing. Everything he sends me is fucking great. This new Revocation's amazing. Whatever. And sometimes I have the space to listen to that, or but yeah. And then I think a lot too about like for playing the drums and stuff like that. Like I make a lot of like playlists to like rip through on the drums and stuff like that. So
Right.
But so there's a little bit of like reflection and curation of like what's the most important drum track on this album or shit like that, you know what I mean? But like not like we did. It's not like when I did when I was a kid, because I was the guy that would make tapes for other people. Like I don't know if I ever made one for you.
I don't know.
Because you always seemed like you had the music you needed.
Not a lot of music.
Yeah. But I was like the kid that was like evangelizing Slayer. Like here's a Slayer mixtape, here's a Pantera mixtape, here's a what I mean, that kind of shit. So
your job has been replaced by the algorithm. Speaking of,
damn,
I didn't
comes back around.
I didn't get paid for it, so I guess it's okay. Well, but yeah. So, okay. So the first one I put on here, so some of these were ones that we've talked about, right? So I think the first time I heard Decapitated was from you or from like someone in that sphere, that time period or whatever. And so I put the song Spheres of Madness on here. And then like another purpose of this playlist is just like to expose Robert to like more shit. So, because I know there's a lot of it. Because this is another interesting thing is I subjected him to like two death metal episodes. And so a lot of this stuff was on there, but it would be like a different song. Like the same album, the same band. But
there were at least one or two the same because I recognize them.
Yeah. Like some of them were the same. But yeah, like I mean, so let's talk about Decapitated for a little bit. That particular song is like one of the most like perfect, like mid-tempo fucking death metal songs. Like it like perfectly walks that line between being, it's like that's definitely death metal, but that's definitely groovy as fuck.
Yeah, they're and we're talking about Spheres of Madness, I guess. I don't know if we said that out loud yet, but I think when I think of Decapitated, I don't even remember how I got introduced to Decapitated, to be quite honest. I'm trying to think if it was like when their drummer died.
Yeah, VTech.
And maybe that's when I first started. Maybe it was like on Lamb Goat or something when it was like a metal news aggregator. And I was like, who's Decapitated? Like, let me check this out. I don't remember what it was, but.
He died in like a bus accident, I think.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And, Spheres of Madness being like one of the best, like, mid-tempo death metal songs with like kind of cut time or whatever. I think that probably one of my top 5 death metal songs of all time ever, of any tempo, is by Decapitated, and it's called Lying in Weak.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna I mean, I feel like if you just want to like play the first 10 seconds of it on the radio, it's I don't know how it's so good, but it's just like, it's one of those songs that like is technically like a pretty quick tempo, but it's so locked in and groovy that it feels slower than it is.
What album is it on?
It's not on that one. It was on the one after that has like kind of a dark blue cover.
I gotcha.
And it's like a D beat kind of like speed with a lot of good blast beats and a lot of double kick stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's one of those songs that's like fast, but it makes you like bob your head slow to it, which is I think that's one of my favorite qualities of like a good death metal song is when it's technically fast, but it makes you like bob your head like
it has like an inherent groove to it though.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
You know, I don't know how to describe it, but like something about that tempo really speaks to me.
That's a thing that people talk about a lot when in terms of like playing jazz, like playing like fast jazz music or whatever. Is like because you might be this like, you know, like playing that kind of like up tempo thing and like all the time, like the director or whatever will like feel it in halftime, right? Like that's like a thing
exactly.
Always that you like. If you want like to play fast, think slow and shit like this, it's a thing that fucking I hear all the fucking time. But that's a cool point. That's a cool. Well, and like that vibe kind of this is kind of a jump, but fuck it. That vibe kind of reminds me of like some of the As Eden Burn stuff.
Interesting.
Do you feel like that tracks to you?
I could sort of see that on a few of the riffs. Yeah, especially a few of the riffs that like Chris wrote. I think he had a very the way that he wrote riffs was very intuitive as opposed to like cerebral or like thinking really hard about it, but it was still very like difficult, I guess, or like complicated. And so it did have sort of an effortless technicality that was actually very rhythmic, I guess. And that was very much a feature of his playing more than mine, I would say.
Okay.
And yeah, like, he definitely had some really like fast riffs that had that you could bob your head to kind of thing.
Yeah, because and that kind of like comes close to like the melodic death metal approach, right? You know, like that kind of, you know, like or like the At the Gate song I put on here, like Blinded by Fear. That's
a good example. That's very similar, I think. Is also Blinded by Fear reminds me of that.
Dun, dun, dun,
yeah.
dun, dun.
Yeah.
You
exactly.
know? And so like that kind of thing, and yeah. I hadn't thought about. Oh yeah, I mean that's like a monomorph. Also, I guess that kind of is. I mean that's kind of like the melodic death metal thing in a lot of ways. Now that I think about it, but it's interesting because you would never describe Decapitated as melodic death metal.
No, you certainly wouldn't. You certainly wouldn't.
And so, but that idea of that you are taking like a riff that is kind of a halftime riff, but you're putting, you know, a blast beat or a skank beat or something like that underneath it to give it this like frantic feel while still having that slower, you know, vibe in the riff and whatnot.
I feel like I like that when it's done well, but sometimes it's not always done that well. And it somehow annoys me.
Can you think of an example where it's not done well?
No, of course not.
But
that would be interesting.
I don't think it's always good when there's like a fast riff or like it's something. Yeah, it's like there's a certain like aligning of the planets that just works in some situations that like really does it for me.
Yeah,
sure. And I think Lying in Weak is a good example. Blinded by Fear is a good example, but I don't think it's always intentional. You know, I think it's just like the perfect combination of the tempo and the riff and the other things that just kind of comes together for me.
Right, just has the right feel to it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
There's a thing, you know, because we went ahead and we brought up As Eden Burns. So there is the middle of that song that I put on here. I didn't know which As Eden Burns song to put, so I just put the one that had the most plays, right?
Which is always the best one.
Yeah,
that's how I judge my
as history has taught us, the thing that everyone likes is always the best one.
Those are the ones that I add to my playlist.
Yeah.
And but it's so the song is Ever Again, As Eden Burns.
I'll just get this out of the way. That's fucking rad as hell, dude. By the way.
Oh, thank you.
Like, awesome.
I didn't even consider that you would like listen to that as like homework for this.
Oh yeah, no, listen to the whole thing. I've never heard As Eden Burns.
Okay.
Or Cavernous for that matter.
Fuck yeah.
But I As Eden Burns, great. I fucking love Cavernous though.
Nice, awesome.
We'll talk about Cavernous in a second.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get there because might as well, right? But so
Let's
like
just pump me up some more. This feels good. I like this.
in the middle. But in the middle of the song "Ever Again," because it's a pretty like okay, this is kind of like I don't want to call it like Black Dahlia worship, but it's like it's pulling on the same thread. Do you know what I mean? Like oh, if you like Black Dahlia murder, you're not gonna hate this.
Yeah.
You know, but then it like gets to like the middle. And first of all, there's that switch to 6/8, which is really cool. And then it gets to the middle, which it goes into like this just pure, like super skank beat, like just metal, like classic heavy metal, like all these crazy leads and all this, that kind of like, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm a sucker for that thing. Like anytime someone is doing like kind of a slow skank beat, you know, like in that kind of like 130, even like 130 to like 170, 180 range, and they just throw straight double bass underneath it, I'm going to love it. Like no matter what. Like I don't give a shit what you're doing on top of it.
It feels good.
And it's hard. It is really like playing double bass at like that 150 to like 170 range. Every drummer knows that is the worst fucking tempo to fucking play at.
It's that range where you can't quite just let loose. You have to like consider it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's that like overlap tempo where you're like, okay, well, am I using like full leg motion? Am I using ankle motion?
Right.
And you kind of need to be able to do those tempos with both of those motions. You need to have overlap in your range, you know? But yeah, like that is just such a like a cool fucking section. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know exactly. It's this part.
Hot damn, man.
Hell yeah.
We can never really do those sweeps very clean though. I'm always like every time I hear them, just like.
So okay.
I know what you mean. It sounded great.
Thank you.
So when you hear that, when you hear that recording, how do you feel about that?
Whew, I feel a lot of ways about that. I mean, that was
What year was this from, by the way?
2008, I want to say.
Okay.
2009 maybe. I think it was released in 2008. And so we did a 5-song. So As Eden Burns existed before me. Chris Borsheim, shout out to Chris Borsheim if he's listening at home. Maybe he will someday.
Maybe so.
He was kind of the.
If we talk well about the band.
Yeah. He was like the originator of the band, and it had been a band for a couple of years at least before I joined. And one of my old bands played with them a few times out in the world, and it came time for them to find a new guitar player from the old guitar player. And so he reached out to me. And so I joined, like, they were already somewhat established in the area. And then our mutual friend, William Hesser, also joined at the same time as me. We were both in the same band at the time. So both of us joined at the same time.
Did William initially join on bass? Or as a vocalist?
Actually, he joined as a vocalist.
Okay.
So the singer and guitar player left at the same time.
Okay.
It's kind of like a reorganization, if you will.
Yeah.
To use corporate terminology. They just were going in a new direction.
AEB Inc.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess all of that to say, I didn't start the band. I joined it after it was already somewhat established, and we put out a 5-song EP that was just totally self-released and self-recorded and everything. We recorded at the Rhythm Room on Britmore and I-10, whatever, or off I-10.
Is that the one that Taylor plays on?
Yes. Yeah. Taylor Steinberg played drums on that. And so based on that 5-song EP, we got interest, and that's when we signed with Willowtip Records, which was, a dream come true for us because, I mean, we were like fans of what they did, and we thought we were like kind of shitty compared to most of the bands there, and they were like, what are they doing signing us, And I think that, I think Arsis had just left Willowtip, and like the Black Dahlia Murder was kind of a thing. And so I think we were like, well, maybe they're trying to hitch a rising star on like another Melodeath type band. And I guess we're it, And so they gave us a small advance to pay to record an album. And we ended up taking
like a couple $1,000.
Yeah. I think it was like $3,500, something like that. Yeah. And which, by the way, like the record deal structures are shit. You know, it's not like that money gets taken out. Like they get it all back and then some. You don't like it's not free money. And no, everyone knows that.
That's
by
how they
now.
make their money. Yeah.
Yeah. I was trying to explain that to some people I know today.
Yeah, it's not free money. So they gave us the money to record it, and we decided to record it ourselves. And we recorded it. William actually recorded it. He also recorded the 5-song EP.
You're like, you know how much beer we can buy with this if we record it
I think
ourselves?
I think we like used the money to buy a van actually and pay for a bunch of merch and then use that to go on tour.
Yeah.
And so we recorded it ourselves, but then we had I forget his name. I should know this. Scott something, like the singer of Pig Destroyer was a like a mastering artist. I think he also did like mixing and stuff, audio engineering in general. So he mixed it mastered it for us. And so I'm super proud of it overall. I wish it sounded tighter. Like I wish we would have like maybe, you know, cheated more. Maybe like I can say this with years behind me now. Like I wish we would have like quantized it more. I wish we would have tightened it up more. I wish we would have edited it tighter.
Yeah.
Because it feels very loose to me, and to me it's an album that shouldn't sound loose, maybe. But
it is interesting. I actually was talking to William about this a few months ago or a year ago, and because I remember hearing it at the time that it came out, and I felt that way. I was like, this sounds kind of sloppy. But on the other hand, I think that has helped the album age a lot better. And I think it has a timeless quality to it. I think it actually sounds, because that whole precision thing, it kind of within, I think it's still being kind of pushed. Well, I don't know if it is. But in the like the super technical death metal, like it's all that has to be fucking perfect.
Right.
But I think in the sort of the other subgenres, like the more mellow death and things like that, like I think that people started backing off on that precision and that quantization. Like people were trying to see how far they could push it, you know, in the late aughts and whatnot. And I feel like now people are intentionally often going for a little more raw sound. And because of that, it kind of makes the album sound a little more relevant. It doesn't sound dated. Yeah. It doesn't sound like, you know, it sounds like it either could have come out way before it did, or or like it came out a few years ago. Like someone's making an intentional, like this is part of our artistic choice, this production. And I just let me say this. I don't mean this as like a backhanded compliment.
Yeah. No, I don't take it that way.
You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's like one of those things where people started going that route to see what would happen, right? And because it was like, let's try to do this thing as far this way as we can.
Yeah.
Get as perfect as we possibly can. But that, like, having it not quite be that lends it a bit of like a humanity to it.
It does.
Right.
You know, because it still feels tight. Like it still feels like it still feels like intentional and like thought out. You know what I mean? Like there was effort put into writing this and blah 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 blah.
Because there's a weird uncanny feeling for me anyway, as someone who doesn't listen to like a lot of like tech death or however you would genreify this is a word. That always puts me off a bit, where it's like it's too perfect. I always like to make it feel like people recorded this music and they didn't just type it into a computer.
Right.
For as much music as I like that is typed into a computer, you know?
Right. Like if there's guitars and drums involved and like ripping ass fucking drums and people screaming and sweating, you're like, yeah, man, like let's fucking do that for real, you know? But you feel a little.
No, I mean, I like I said, I'm really proud of it. I think it sounds good. I think it sounds relatively unique, and I don't mean the music so much as I mean like the actual sound. And I do think it was an artistic choice. And like I said, I mean, I'm super proud to have been a part of it and produce that. And I'm not like sad about it by any means.
Gotcha. Well, and like the other aspect is that the technology now, it's pretty easy to like edit stuff and to massage it into being like tighter but not too perfect, and to like, well, let me get that hit. Okay, no, if I do it too close to the grid, it sounds a little inhuman. Let me just get it closer than I was.
You can like kind of quantize it.
Yeah, like you know what I mean. And every drummer is edited. Like that's everyone. The best drummer in the fucking world. Their shit gets sliced up and fucking moved around.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but it probably would have been really difficult to do that in 2007, 2008. Like I don't know that it would have been as easy. To do that.
Yeah, probably not.
So if you would have done it, it might have sounded unnatural.
Probably.
I don't know.
But I think there's a lot more. There's a lot wrapped into that album for me, as you can imagine, beyond just the music too and the sound. Because
do you regret not being able to do a follow-up?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, I wouldn't say regret, but there was definitely like when we were recording it, there was this sort of sense of optimism and like it felt like the beginning of something. When in hindsight, it was really the end, of something. Like that was. We went on tour for it, I think. Once or twice, or I think we went on tour for it once, and it was like a terrible tour from a business perspective, but it was like a really fun tour from a personal perspective. And then like, that particular tour, one of our members, who I won't name, couldn't join us because they happened to be incarcerated at the time. So we did like a 4-person tour. And you could probably do the math and figure out who it was. There's only certain instruments you can take away and still have a like. We weren't going up there and clapping our hands without a drummer. Yeah. But like so that tour was kind of a disaster. And like the other 2 bands on the tour dropped off literally a few shows in because it was so bad, because the turnout was so bad.
Wow.
And I remember sitting in the parking lot of this shitty venue in Baton Rouge, and the other 2 bands had already decided to like go home. Basically, they were both from like South Carolina and Buffalo, New York, respectively, and they were like, "Fuck it, we're out of here." The shows have been shit. We had like 5 or 6 shows in, and they just said, "We're out of here."
Damn.
And so we as a band were like, "Should we?" Baton Rouge was like the closest we were gonna be back to Houston.
Oh.
On the whole tour, because from Baton Rouge we then turned straight north.
I see.
And went like up the Midwest, all the way to Minnesota, and then back east.
Yeah.
And stopping along the way. And we were like, should we just quit? Should we just go back to Houston? I mean, we're only a few hours away. It's like, we could probably be there in time to get some Whataburger taquitos if we left now.
Right, yeah.
But we just said like, and credit to Lee Eubanks, who was our drummer who recorded that album.
Right.
And he was just very much like a gung ho about touring, and like he was just said, fuck it, let's just do it. And so I called every venue like that night in the parking lot. I called every venue subsequently that we were supposed to play and said, "I've got good news and bad news. The good news is you're going to save some money on your guarantee."
Yeah.
Because only 1 out of the 3 bands are playing.
I'm going to pitch you the Geico pitch here.
The bad news is it's just us. It's just going to be us. And every single one of the promoters was like totally cool about it. They were like, "That sounds great. Yeah, we'd love to have you guys." So we said, fuck it, let's just go. So we just did our own solo tour and played a bunch of cool shows. And ironically, all of the rest of the shows that tour were like so much fun, and we got good turnouts, and we had some great shows.
That's cool.
And it turned out to be kind of fun until our van broke down on the Brooklyn Bridge, or on the Manhattan Bridge.
Oh shit.
But I mean, it was a fun tour, but it wasn't like a successful tour. You know, it was fun on a personal level, but it wasn't successful.
Yeah, because that's like, you could see being super bummed about that, but that's also probably pretty liberating.
Yeah.
That would probably be pretty fucking fun.
Yeah.
On some level.
It was like, we got nothing to lose. Fuck it.
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
from here on up is good, I guess.
We're all in to go forward and just get it done.
Right.
And there's less pressure now, and it's just us, and we can
So that was kind of like our last sort of hurrah. And rather than being like a jumping off point to something greater, it was just kind of like it was a fun way to like, kind of slowly end things, And we played a few more shows after that, and we wrote a few songs that kind of have some demo version out there on SoundCloud somewhere that never really saw the light of day.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't really regret it, not doing a follow-up, but yeah, that whole time was very weird. It was a very strange time and very uncertain, and it's weird, but fun though.
Yeah. And so how long was it after like As Eden Burns dissolving? I mean, it wasn't that long before you were in Cavernous.
There was overlap.
Okay.
There was definitely overlap.
Because I just remember this period personally where I was just like on the DL, just incredibly jealous of you because everyone was like low key jealous of As Eaten Burns because y'all were like the metal band that got signed, you know, and it was like these motherfuckers, and like I don't know if you know this or not.
I guess not, because I don't know what the fuck you're gonna say.
But at one point he didn't make it onto the album. But at one point their singer was Trey Gammon.
Oh yeah, no, I know that.
Oh, okay. Just making that clear.
Yeah, totally.
Because we went to high school with him.
Shout out to RG3.
I think we talked about that.
Robert
last time.
Gammon the third.
Maybe we did.
Is his name
Maybe
Robert?
we did.
Yeah,
No shit.
that's why he's called Trey the third. Robert Gammon the third.
Damn, it was a fucking grift the whole time. Trey was playing us all the whole time.
Whole time.
And he was a badass fucking singer too.
I remember that motherfucker rehearsing with bands in my garage, and he wouldn't use the PA.
He was insane. He
Seriously.
was like primal. I don't know where he pulled it out of because he was so like nice and sweet most of the time. But
Dude,
like
knowing that dude in school, he was
Yeah.
like the most unassuming,
Yeah.
like just weird dude. But
Yeah.
then seeing him sing like that, like,
yeah,
who the fuck are
He
you,
let it rip.
man?
He let it rip.
It
Yeah.
was so amazing. It was so amazing.
Wild.
Like, it was. I feel. I can say this with. Yeah. Like this is no hyperbole. I feel like privileged to have seen that guy sing in my fucking garage. Like to have been able to witness a human, just a regular fucking person, with just this competing with drums and fucking amps. It was fucking insane. It was absolutely surreal. Like, because we were stupid. We couldn't get the PA to work. Because that's the thing that would happen a lot.
Is that we were stupid, yeah.
Well, like multiple bands would rehearse at my house sometimes, you know, for whatever reason. Hey, can we go break? Yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? So there would be, you know, that wasn't an uncommon thing out at the time, you know. And I remember like walking out there and like just see it. Like it didn't even have a mic. Like it wasn't even like, oh, well, the mic's not working. Like he just was just doing it and like seeing someone do really intense metal vocals and hearing it and seeing it and feeling it and all that without there being like this like ornamentation and like ritual of a mic that makes you feel safe. I'm like, this is what's happening here. It was surreal. It was fucking weird.
in a way, that's what a scream is supposed to make you feel.
Yes.
But it's always it's obfuscated or whatever.
Yeah,
by,
like arbitrated by this, like,
yeah.
you know, it's like, don't worry, this is a part of a musical performance that you're used to seeing. I'm doing this into a microphone. This is a performance. This is for the art or whatever, blah, 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 you know, but seeing him just do it was
Yeah.
Yep.
so mad. I hope I see that dude again soon because I'm gonna give him a big ass fucking hug. Love it, Trey. But yeah, but I remember being like, I was like, oh god, okay, this fucking dude goes from being like all in like the metal band that gets signed, that's out touring and doing all the fucking things, and then he's like, okay, well, cool. Well, I'm just gonna be in the other best band. I'll be in the best post rock whatever band.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I remember because I was teaching high school at this time, and so I have my physical copy of my As Eaten Burn CD that I bought at y'all's CD release party. I don't have my physical Cavernous CD that I bought at Mango's, which is where y'all did your release party, because one of my students like saw it and was like geeked about like, wait a minute, why do you know who Cavernous is? I was like, dude, that's one of my good friends. He's like, you know the guitarist in Cavernous, and he got all fucking geeked about it. So I fucking gave it to him, and it like made his fucking day. Made
That
his
kid's
weekend.
name? Albert Einstein.
He went on to be like a bartender at Brash Brewery for a while, which makes
sick.
sense.
Sick.
Just playing that
Shout out
album
to
all
Brash
day long.
Brewery.
I hope so. But yeah, so there was overlap between those two bands.
Yeah, there was definitely overlap. I don't remember the exact history because I have a dog shit memory.
It's
but,
been a while. It's been 10 plus years.
Yeah. But yeah, there was definitely overlap, but not a lot of overlap if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because I know that Cavernous was doing things in 2008, and so was As Eden Burns.
Okay.
So I know that there was some level of overlap there, but then obviously I think that in hindsight, I've probably said this out loud to you before, but like in hindsight, that probably softened the blow of like As Eden Burns just kind of falling apart, is because I had this other outlet and that I was also really into and like proud of and really enjoyed, and was really fun, and you know, we played fairly often. I mean, like we played you know, a few times a month just around town mostly. We did one tour, if you want to call it that. That was just kind of like for fun with a couple of really cool Houston bands, Barkus Sly and the Golden Egg, and then Giant Battle Monster, who were both really cool bands. And they were a lot more experimental and kind of wacky. But yeah, so like I really enjoyed that, and that kind of like, you know, gave me a nice parachute to glide off into the sunset with for a while, you know, until that eventually kind of just unraveled as well. But
so the recording. So I just grabbed the first track from the album, The Leavers and Takers. The sound of that record, of that Cavernous record, is so fucking good. It is obscenely good. So did y'all record that to a click track? Or is Marshall just that fucking good?
Marshall is kind of a human click track.
Okay.
He's like a professional, capital P, professional drummer.
Yeah.
And music runs in his blood. His uncle is Clint Black.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
His whole family is insanely talented musically. Every single one of them. Like his cousin Brandon was the bass player, has one of the best like audio engineer minds, you know, that I know. He played bass, obviously. Marshall is the drummer. That whole family is ridiculously talented. Their dads, respectively. Small side story here that's kind of crazy. My dad is a drummer. He a musician, and he used to play for.
So I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you right there because I feel like we don't talk about this enough. Which is that your dad is like a professional drummer. Like your whole life, you know, like that's been what your dad has done, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that is your fucking ace in the hole as to why you I don't know, man, like you just, there's a reason that you were in all these great bands, and it's because you're an incredible musician and a great fucking guitarist, and you hear music on like such a deeper level than most people do even people that play music. And that's something that like always impressed me and kind of intimidated me about you, to be quite honest. And so, but do you think that's related to your dad being a drummer and being like exposed to music and like that, it being at that depth, or do you think it doesn't matter, or?
I don't know. I mean, it was not an active thing, if anything. It was like he didn't like. It's like, here, son, let me show you some. You know, Bella Fleck and the Flecktones, although he did do that later in my life, actually. But like,
he didn't just, he did.
We did, like, we bonded over music a lot, but he was, as a person, he's very, like, not trying to push any kind of thing on me. Like, he was never like, this is good music, you should listen to this. Or, hey, you should play music. All of these things I came to on my own, and he just kind of supported it.
Just if you took to it, then it was good. And he would nurture that.
Yeah.
Cool.
And he was very supportive. He always wanted to know what I was listening to, and that was, you know, that was kind of a one of our strong bonding moments. You know, because he didn't live with me.
Right.
And so when we were together, that was a way that we would bond. Is I would play him the latest music I would listen to, and a lot of the music on this list was actually part of that. Dimmu Borgir and Opeth. And my dad is like not into metal at all.
Right.
But he 100%, and I don't think he was just blowing smoke up my ass. Like he 100% understood and appreciated it for what it was, even if he couldn't get down with it. You know.
Right.
He always had something complimentary to say about it, and it was not just like a, that's nice, son. You know, it was like genuinely like he would actually find something, you know, that he was like really impressed in. And occasionally he would be like, this is actually something I would listen to. Like Tool, he said that. Porcupine Tree and other things like that. He was like, sweet. Gavin Harrison, you know, is the most badass fucking drummer of all time. So it was more of a, from a like passing the torch. It was not really from him to me. He was never like trying to guide me into a life of music. Yeah. In fact, he probably would have preferred I didn't, because you know, like
do you think, like, I mean, just having that kind of reinforcement in a sense that had to have some effect.
That can't not have been impactful on some level.
Just being able to like talk about music at a deeper level.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, it must have. Yeah,
you know, like
it
must have just. I mean, it seems like it's the kind of thing that would like increase your resolution, like the level that you're able to zoom in on the music and whatnot. Because you know, like, because I remember talking about music like with my mom a lot. My mom's not a musician at all, you know, but she felt music. So that would be a lot of what we would talk. Oh, I like the way this song makes me feel. I like these lyrics. I like this, you know what I mean? And so, but it stayed at that level, you know? And so.
Well, yeah, it's like, it's so funny. Like the impact that other people and experiences have on you is not always obvious. And like the specific, it's oftentimes really hard to like zero in on a specific example of how something impacted you. Sure. But there is one example that I could think of. And I think a lot of it's just kind of osmosis, but like there's one thing that I remember that my dad said to me one time when I was getting really into metal and like extreme music and stuff. And I was like, you know, one of the things that I thought, like one of the dimensions of music I thought was really impressive was just the technicality or difficulty of it, you know, which I think is like a phase that a lot of metal musicians go through.
Absolutely.
And may still be in a little bit.
I'm still in it.
And I remember asking my dad, like, who's your favorite drummer? And I was thinking he was going to say someone like insane, like Neil Peart or something like that. Right. And he was like, and my dad is, by the way, like really into like very complicated technical jazz, like as well as other like stuff. He's into all kinds of stuff.
He's like Jim Keltner.
And I thought he was going to say something crazy like that. And he was like, no, actually Ringo Starr, I mean, had like the biggest influence on me because he was never like the best drummer by any stretch of the imagination, but he was a very musical drummer and he played something that fit the song really well every time. And he was just like a fun drummer and a great drummer, but not in a technical sense. And like, even though that seems very obvious to say that out loud, as a kid who was going through like a technical phase and like a technicality and difficulty phase, it kind of like snapped me out of it a little bit. Cause I was like, oh, obviously music cannot be just boiled down to how complicated it is, you know, like melodically or rhythmically, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, to have someone like your dad say something insightful like that,
right?
It's like, oh, I can think this way too.
Right.
Sweet.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Or,
yeah.
Or just someone you respect, or you know,
Or when I was showing him, like when I got really into post rock, and I was showing him Tortoise. Do you guys know Tortoise?
Yeah.
Tortoise is badass. Like I got into them around the same time as like Mogwai, and they had this song that was like, I don't even know the instrumentation they used, but it was like a very ambient kind of song. And I thought it was like, you know, this must be very modern and like new. And he was like, oh, this is really cool. It reminds me of Peter Gabriel. And I was like
solo stuff.
Shit, like there is nothing new under the sun, you know?
Totally.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
So perspectives like that he shared, I think, just off the cuff, I think impacted me for sure.
Right. Cool. And like having like that kind of like sincere, like he wasn't trying to give you a hot take about like, actually Ringo Starr. Like he was like, no, man, like this is the drummer I enjoyed listening to the most, or that I have them, or that influenced me the most, or blah, 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 blah. Like having that kind of like authentic reflection from someone that you respect, which I don't think a lot of, a lot of us guys that were pulling on the metal thread, we're gonna find someone that we really respected that was gonna like say like, oh, Ringo, you know.
It was almost kind of like, you know how like these days YouTube has like a big cottage industry about like reaction videos where like people who don't normally listen to metal react to metal.
Oh yeah.
But genuinely, so to speak, you know, or like presumably.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that for me on a very personal level.
That's rad.
I was basically like showing him stuff and like waiting for his reaction. And it was always constructive.
That's so cool.
And I got a lot out of it, you know.
That's awesome. So cool. Do you want to hear like a funny tidbit that you might get a kick out of? So John Longstreth, the drummer in Origin, okay, his dad was a jazz drummer. Okay, like growing up in Kansas City. And so like one of his like memories is like showing his dad like Iron Maiden, and his dad being like, why is the fucking ride cymbal so goddamn loud? It's like, that's not how drums actually sound. You know?
That's really funny.
Like this kind of like grumpy take, you know, because his dad was very supportive or whatever, but his dad didn't get metal. You know what I mean? Like he appreciated and encouraged, but you know, whatever. But like this idea of like someone listened to Iron Maiden, it's like, I shouldn't be able to hear the ride cymbal that clearly. You know, that's against the spirit of music.
Right.
Like, it's not.
This is incorrect.
Yeah, like, it's not all.
Iron Maiden is doing metal wrong.
This is wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way.
So yeah, Marshall, I think we played to a click.
Okay.
We probably did.
Well,
and we
even
recorded
if you
it.
did, even if you did, like, it is very clear on there. It's like, God damn it, this drummer's feel is so fucking good. And man, like, I hung out with him after, like, there was a fucking Buff Wayne show that you and me played out in Katy. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And Brandon, the bassist, did sound. And Marshall happened to be there fucking hanging out. And I hung out with him most of the night talking about fucking Stevie Wonder. Like, just, you know what I mean? But yeah, like, speaking of, like, fucking random things. But yeah, dude, that guy, like, it was really strange. It was really strange to watch him play the drums, like, with Cavernous. Because like, a lot of times when you see musicians that are better than you, you can kind of, like, see how you can get to that point.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
You know, you're like, oh, okay, I don't have that chop together. I don't have that rudiment together. I don't know that pattern. You know, oh, okay, his dynamics are a little different. Okay, but I see how I see how that's just different. Or, you know, or I see how I could shed and get to that. But, like, Marshall would like play something really simple. Like, something that's like, oh, I know I could play that. And I was like, I don't know how to make it. I don't know what's missing on how, what I need to do to make it sound as good as he is making it sound.
Man.
Yeah, man.
Disheartening.
He's on
Oh yeah, it was a fucking honor and a privilege to be in the same band as that dude.
Yeah. Like, is he just doing, like, because I remember at one point, like, he was doing just, like, country music or.
Yeah, I think he definitely still plays out a lot. I think he plays with this outfit called Steel Country.
Okay.
And they play out in Katy a lot and all over town. They're great. They're really good. They did a Facebook Live concert a few times, I think, in the early pandemic. And I
like
tuned,
you do.
Yeah, as one does. And I tuned in once because I'd never seen them live, actually.
Okay.
But I figured they would be pretty good. That they're like pros, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I tuned in. I was like, they just mixed it. It was in Brandon's garage that he, like, has his little studio in, and it's a tiny little room that we used to practice in, you know, and jam in, and it just sounded so fucking good. It's just like the music was played flawlessly, but even the sound was really good because Brandon was running it, and it was just like, it sounds better than like a album recording, and it was all live in Brandon's fucking garage. It was awesome. So yeah, they're still doing it, and
those fucking guys.
What was the name of the band again?
Steel Country.
I'm imagining like a Judas Priest cover band, but the country. Man, that'd be cool.
Hell yeah. It could happen.
So yeah, just to puff you up a little bit more, this Cavernous song I fucking loved. This is exactly my shit.
Hell yeah.
You ever heard the band Light, Lite, Japanese instrumental band?
No.
You sound a lot like them.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
I'm gonna add this to my list while we're talking.
I'll send you some shit later.
Yeah,
maybe.
please.
But to the point where I was like, is this not just a part of this song? And like, I went through their entire catalog and like, I found the one I was thinking of. And I was like, it's not quite, but the vibe is there.
Nice.
But yeah, super, super cool shit.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it was fun stuff. And
was that all instrumental?
Yeah, we were always 100% instrumental.
Awesome.
Yeah, we did one short EP that had, like, I think 4 songs or maybe 5. And then we did that album, which was the kind of a full length that we did like 8 songs on it. And the first one we recorded in Brandon's garage. I still think it sounds great. And then that one we recorded with Paul Cox here in Houston in the Heights. And I'm going to kick myself and I can't remember the name of his studio anymore. But it's like a pro studio and we were friends with him. We knew him through a couple of connections. And so I'm sure he gave us a really good deal, you know, otherwise we could not have afforded it by any means. And Paul was like a professional, like he mixed the audio to like Ocean's 12 or something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
Like that. He was like a fucking pro, you know?
Right.
So yeah, again, I've been very privileged in my, you know, short-lived musical career to like work with some really amazingly talented people, musicians, audio engineers and all that. So
sweet.
Well, man, I think you earned your fucking place. I think you belonged there, friend. So, All right, so back to this fucking thing. So we had some Decapitated. I put that Dimmu Borgir. So one of the reasons I put this Dimmu Borgir track on there is because I remember us like talking at like my apartment, like this is so fast.
Yeah.
Like the drumming in it, like the double bass, like at the end is like just at the time, especially at the time. At the time, it was like
it is really fucking fast.
And it's because your boy Hellhammer from Mayhem's fucking doing fucking doubles.
Right.
Can you play a clip of it real quick, just so I can reorient to it?
Oh, for sure, man.
Oh yeah.
Dude, fucking Dimmu Borgir makes such great sounding fucking records, man.
Yeah.
And there's all these like little pieces of ear candy. Like it's just such a joy to listen to all of their stuff.
When you went through the metal playlist with me, like that was the my big takeaway from their track that you put on there.
Yeah, because I think I put like Blessings Upon the Throne of Tyranny.
Like this production is fucking incredible.
Oh yeah.
It sounds so good.
Well, and like that one, like puritanical miss whatever, that one, that one was like the clarity on that production was like the thing that was like just blah. But on In Sorte Diabole and like Abracadabra or whatever the fuck you call that one, that was whenever it felt like all the elements start to be integrated really, really well and seamlessly. It felt to me, but yeah, you get into like it's just so stupid. Anyway,
they're just.
I'm gonna get clipped for doing that. Whatever.
I'll never like not think that they're the best example of extreme symphonic black metal that ever existed. Even though like I know that's like a lot of people hate on them and they're like sellouts or whatever. Like that's fucking dumb. These guys are fucking awesome.
They're not sellouts. Just people a lot. They did a thing so good that a lot of people fucking liked it.
Exactly.
Fuck off.
Yeah. I mean, I would listen to them over Cradle of Filth 1,000 times a day.
I have a soft spot for some Cradle of Filth, but they do not approach the grandness that Dimmu does.
It's truly epic and like not in the annoying way that people used to use the word epic, like to refer to bacon or whatever. Like it's truly epic.
They're not like bacon epic.
They're not as epic as bacon.
No.
But yeah, they're just
they have a grandeur about them.
Absolutely.
That's the better word.
It's like majestic.
That's the best word.
There you go. Yeah.
Grandeur is an excellent word to describe them.
Yeah.
And they lean into it and they've cultivated it over many, many, many years. And they're just the shit. I haven't listened to them in a while. Like I don't know whatever their more recent albums are, but
Aeonian. Well, they haven't done a lot. They've only put out like, Abracadabra or whatever, which that might actually be my favorite Dimmu Borgir record to listen to.
Really?
That's the one I feel like that incorporates the symphonic elements in the most seamless way. And then they did one came out like last year or the year before, like Aeonian or something like that one. And I listened to that one a few times. I'm like, this is great. No surprise. Whenever I need more of this sound, I know where to find it. But yeah, like so. I remember them they were such a big deal at that time period because their productions were so clear that it was a way to really understand this drumming that was happening.
Right.
Because on a lot of records, like if you were going to listen to like an Emperor record, like it wasn't as easy to discern what was even fucking happening.
Yeah.
Like that's why Cradle of Filth's Cruelty and the Beast record that Nick Barker plays on. Nick Barker doesn't play on In Sorte Diabole, but he played on some other Dimmu records. But that one is real special to me because it sounds like shit. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Cruelty and the Beast sounds like garbage. It's very, like, triggered sounding drums. But the clarity allowed me to understand what he was... It's like, oh, that's what a blast beat is. Oh, that's...
Yeah.
That's,
I can see it. They're alternating this and like the kick is on the one or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Instead of just a jumbled mess of just...
Whereas, like, listening to, like, early Emperor records, and I'm like, I love this feeling, but I can't tell what the fuck is happening. So...
I visited the Dimmu Borgir in Iceland. It's a place.
Oh, what is it?
It's like a national park or like some kind of park. that is basically, it's like a Tim Burton movie of volcanic rock formations.
I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I mean? Like it's like lava-based rock formations in these craggly, impossible, angular shapes.
Yeah, like a Beetlejuice set or something.
It looks like something from The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's just like
cool,
super cool. I don't remember. It means something in Icelandic or whatever. But when we went there, I went there with our friend Jacob, and when he was living in Iceland, because he lived not far from there, in the northern part of Iceland. And we went there, and it happened to be like during Christmas time. And Iceland has like a really weird Christmas tradition called the Yule Lads.
I've heard of this.
And they're like, there's like, instead of having
steal your sausage,
exactly,
all that shit. Yeah.
Instead of having like one Santa Claus, there's like 12, and they're like all skinny, and they kind of smell bad or something.
They, like, hide in your house,
and they all look dirty, and they like do pranks on you, and they like sneak into your house at night and like steal your hanging smoked sausages from your door. Or
they
like
lick your dishes.
They'll lick
shit.
your spoons.
Yeah.
And so in the Dimmu Burger, while we were there, they had a dude dressed up as a Yule Lad, like prancing through the rock formations and like giggling into the void.
Great.
It was the most surreal experience like of my life. And he would like pop out from behind the rock and be like, and he had like a giant beard. It was so bizarre. Sorry, that was a side trip, but that was
no. I mean, it's pretty relevant.
Yeah.
That's fucking rad.
Yeah.
I remember Jacob calling me like, and I was walking around a fucking Barnes and Noble, the Barnes and Noble over in Town and Country. I don't know why I remember this so specifically. And we were on the phone, and he was like the economy and the efficiency of language. Okay, he was like, Richard, do you know that people in Iceland believe in elves? And I said, no. And he said, Richard, the people in Iceland believe in elves. And I'll like about once a month I'll be walking around. I'll think about that because he said the sentence, and then I said no, and then he said the sentence again without the parts that made it a question.
Right.
Like, because it wasn't like, did you know the people in Iceland believe in elves? No, I didn't know. Dude, you wouldn't fucking believe this. They fucking believe in elves. Like, it was like math. It was like Beautiful. A mathematical operation.
It was an English test. It's like, write this statement in a question form. Yeah. And I'll write it in a declamatory or whatever it's called. I don't know. Fucking
declamatory.
That's a word. That's definitely a word.
I declaim. Oh shit.
Right, yeah. So Dimmu's the fucking shit.
Yeah.
So it's wild that you've never really dug into Death. That surprises me.
They've always been one of those bands that I felt kind of like an imposter syndrome about, like I should like them. And I've gotten into them, like I've listened to them a bit in the past, and for whatever reason, it just never quite clicked with me.
Each one of their albums is really fucking different.
Yeah.
Is one aspect of it. And they're interesting because they're like a band like that. They can be like your gateway to death metal, or they can be like that death metal band that you're always like, meh.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like those vocals. That's too techy. There's too noodly. It's too melodic. There's no blast beats. You know, like, and it's interesting, like that they are like the originators of the genre in so many ways, but they lack so many of the essential tropes of the genre. You know. Yeah.
They didn't live long enough to see themselves become the enemy, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I think that because Chuck was always moving forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you see him sort of like, you know, getting more and more progressive to where like the last record they did was the Controlled Denied record, which was all clean singing and all, you know, like just more of like a progressive metal record, you know what I mean? So he was moving away from that anyway. But yeah, did you listen to this? The Crystal Mountain was the song I put on here. Did it hit you any one way or another?
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. I like it. Play a clip real quick. Yeah.
So, another really cool thing is that it has like Gene Hoglan on the drums, so it just grooves in a different way that like most death metal fucking doesn't. But something that like trips me out about a song. Let me see if I can find it. It's gonna take me a second. But there's like all these. I can't find it. But there's a section in there where it's like, oh well, if you just take this section and you extrapolate on this, then you have Nile's entire career. You know, like they're using, I don't know what mode it is or whatever, but it's like, oh, okay. Like it drops into like that kind of harmony and that kind of
the one that sounds Egyptian.
Yeah.
Like the Phrygian mode or whatever the fuck it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know which one it is.
And then, but then the outro has like the classical guitar, you know, the acoustic guitar overdub. And it's like, that's a thing that you find when you listen to a lot of death is it's like, oh, well, this section of this song becomes this whole other subgenre of death metal.
Right.
Or this album becomes a whole subgenre of death metal. You know what I mean? So, you know.
That song kind of reminded me a little bit of a band that I was really into that I think probably took a lot of ideas or like a lot of similar kind of trappings that Death had in terms of kind of a progressive, technical death metal kind of sound, but they were a Christian band.
Okay.
And they were called X-Toll.
Okay.
Do you know X-Toll?
I don't.
I will send you a couple of representative songs of theirs.
Yeah.
They had 2 albums that I still think are some of my favorite metal albums of all time. And they're fucking Christian. Who'd have thought?
Dude, this was a whole fucking thing that we got into
Yeah.
with my friend CJ because he grew up in the church. So he was only allowed to listen to things that you could buy at fucking Lifeway Christian. So he listened to like, what was that fucking Scrolls of the Megalith or whatever the fucking Mortification, I think was Mortification was the name of the band. And it's like legit fucking death metal. But they have like Christian ass lyrics or whatever. And they're clearly like authentically in the death metal tradition.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was legit as hell.
And like and stuff like that. And so it was so yeah, I'm not at the time, like, do not get me wrong. Like if you would have presented to me like, oh, this is Christian metal in like 2000, I would like, you get fucked and die.
Yeah.
Like I would have had a very strong reaction to that. But now I'm like, yeah, man, I wouldn't be surprised, you know? So
But Death was always a band that like, and I kind of felt the same way about this song as I had always felt about them, where there wasn't anything that I didn't like about it. It just didn't grab me in a way that I can explain.
They're one of those bands that I almost feel like you've got to like listen to what else was happening around the time of them and be like, oh, that's why they're a fucking big deal. You know what I mean? Like if you go and you listen to all the death metal in 1991 and you listen to the Human record in there, and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is fucking, you know.
I did like Leprosy.
Sure, yeah.
Because I think maybe just because the album cover like really kind of helped, like
Leprosy
put me in the vibe of what they were trying to do.
That's
with
kind of a sweet spot in their career before they start getting like techie, but they're a little more refined than on Scream Bloody Gore.
Yeah,
you know, it's a little less like blackened thrash, or I'm sorry, deathened thrash, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So pretty rad. Okay, so then you put this Malevolent Creation track on here. I haven't heard this track.
Really?
Yeah. But I mean,
okay.
Oh, go ahead.
No, did you listen to it before?
Of course I fucking did.
Okay. What's your initial reaction to it?
Dude, it's okay. So it has Dave Coolross on fucking drums, which I fucking love that guy. He's one of my favorite Suffocation drummers. So I'm well familiar with his style and how he plays and whatnot. So I'm a fan of Malevolent Creation. But we've talked about them before. Because are you familiar with their Eternal record?
Probably not.
Okay. So there's a song called They Breed, where at the end of it, they throw out the N-word with a hard R.
Oh, what?
Yeah. Like F you effing N-word, hard R.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So,
well, certainly would not have recommended this song if I knew about that.
But the guy who sang and played bass on that record who does that is not the guy who sings on this record.
Whew. Close call.
Yeah, close call. So,
Bullet dodged.
They're this really interesting band where like I love them sonically, but I have like a bit of trepidation when it comes to like supporting them for those fucking reasons, because you can go to like and hear it on YouTube, and the comments are like, you know, a mix of like, oh, it really sucks that he did this, and then you also hear comments of like, oh, he knows what he's talking about, or like, I've met him after a show, he's a true believer. Like, there's, you know what I mean? It's a whole fucking thing that's like, unfortunately, a part of their fucking legacy. Yeah. So, but I'm really stoked that you didn't know anything about that.
Yeah. Well, I have no problem canceling them. I don't give a shit.
They kind of canceled themselves.
They don't have any special place in my heart, but this song does.
The song's almost more black metal.
Kind of.
You know what I mean? And it has this really nice, like, what I liked about it is it has this nice, like, sort of like tour day beats. It's like, here's all of it. It has them all, yeah, it's like, here's your skank beats, here's your blast beats, here's all of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
there's two main reasons why I wanted to talk about this song, or like that I wanted to bring it up. Was one, because we basically ripped off the first riff on the first song of the As Eden Burns album.
Okay.
Where they're playing like really fast tremolo on like a minor, like a two note minor chord, and then they just kind of slowly move it downwards chromatically. We basically ripped that off. It wasn't the same riff, but it was intentionally like styled after that because I liked this song so much.
Yeah.
So there's one. Number two was one of the ways that I would get into music back in the day. Did you guys ever watch the CKY videos?
Oh yeah.
CKY.
This was on one of those.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I remember hearing it, and like I was still getting into heavy and extreme music, and thinking like, ooh, what is this? It sounds kind of melodic, but it's like really brutal and fast, and I think a lot of people got into a lot of music through skateboard videos.
Totally.
In that
That's how I got into CKY.
Exactly.
Fucking love CKY.
CKY is badass, yeah.
Yeah, it's a killer fucking track. It's you know, so we talked about Blinded by Fear a little bit. At the Gates. So that's amazing. Did you, because we talked about Black Dahlia Murder with our friend CJ a little bit, because he was hugely influenced by. Do you know the band Mr. Hinkus? Did you ever see those guys?
Familiar with, but no.
Okay, cool. Anyway, doesn't matter. But like Trevor was a huge influence on him, so we talked about them a bit on his episode. But like, so like Black Dahlia Murder, and even to a certain degree, like Deaf Heaven, you could kind of lump these in to like the same conversation, in a sense of like bands that if I just listen to, I'm like, this is great. But when I would like see them or see their merch or see whatever, I'm like, fuck those scene poser assholes. Because that's kind of how I felt about Black Dahlia Murder.
Like they just exemplify it so hard.
What I mean is,
it seems fake or something.
Well, it's different. It's different with each of them. But like with Black Dahlia Murder, it was like, I remember people I knew who were into them, and I was like, you fucking emo metalcore asshole, you know, like with your gauges and shit, you know. Like
they were oftentimes, and it's not their fault necessarily, but they were oftentimes like the one extreme metal band that a person listened to, amongst other things.
Right.
Extreme, to an extent.
Well, because culturally, the way they presented themselves wasn't like metal fucking douchebags, so they were more accessible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And me being an elitist metal douchebag at the time, I didn't want any part of that. And then because like I would hear, I would, oh, you gotta listen to it. And I listened to it, and I'd be like, this is just sloppy at the gates. How the fuck do I care about this? Yeah. But in retrospect.
But what I did always like about them was that they took kind of the At the Gates style, and they just slapped some like death metal on it, as opposed to like At the Gates, which was always kind of mid tempo and like no blast beats and stuff. Which again, these are very superficial things, but like I like their flavor of it. It always kind of spoke to me to an extent.
Well, what they do is incredible, and I was an absolute asshole. Like, let me be very clear. Like I punished myself by forcing myself to miss out on a lot of great music by being a dick.
Same.
And so, but what I was curious is like, when did you hear them, and were you like instantly on board?
I definitely heard them around the same time as all these other bands, and I think I knew that something was different about them, but it didn't necessarily color my perception of them or whatever. But I could tell something was different, and like I knew that they ran in different circles and they like toured with different bands than like the other heavy metal bands and like death metal bands that I was listening to at the time. And I think they were probably part of like another sort of MP3 CD that I had at some point. And so they were just kind of jumbled in with a lot of other things that I'd been listening to. And they felt like kind of fresh because they were very like frenetic kind of. Yeah. But still
that makes sense.
Had that like kind of at the gates melodic style to it. So they were just, they hit me at the right time, you know, and I was never like a massive fan of theirs, but I always liked what they did a lot. I thought it was, even though it was in some senses, it felt sort of derivative, the way that they put the pieces together to me felt fresh.
Gotcha.
And I always liked them. And, like I said, As Eden Burns used to get compared to them all the time.
Sure.
For better or for worse, because I think that we kind of had a lot of the same, you know, trappings that they had, because we weren't like, you know, metal dudes. Like we were just dudes.
Right.
And so we weren't like we were more in like hardcore and metalcore scenes than like legit metal scenes. And I don't even know like whether the legit metal community in Houston ever knew about us or gave a shit about us. Quite frankly, they probably didn't, you know. So, and I feel like, so maybe Black Dahlia Murder was kind of, you know, kindred spirits there a little bit on a smaller scale. But
we could talk about the legit metal community when we turn this off in Houston. Yeah, cool. Every time I think about them, I'm like, man, I fucking missed out, you know, because there are things that are unique about them, but I only sort of like took the surface elements, was like, oh, I've heard this before. Fuck all of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So, okay. Nile. So I put these two tracks on here for a reason. Because, well, you know why I put Lash to the Slave Stick.
yeah.
So, do you want to fill Robert in on that?
Yeah. So this is kind of a funny story. Like I was watching, you know, the Creep Show movies.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Are you pretty familiar with them?
The whichever one had like the dude getting buried in the sand and the roaches.
That was the first one.
That was the first one. Yeah.
So there was a sequel called Creep Show 2. Very creative. And I was watching it the other day with my wife and one of our friends. This was like a couple of years ago, but we were just having like a, you know, horror movie kind of night, and we were watching that for old time's sake. And there's a musical motif that occurs throughout the movie a few times, and then it plays again at the end on the ending credits.
Okay.
And the first time it comes up in the actual movie is, yeah, that's it. The first time it comes up in the actual movie is during one of the like vignettes, you know, there's multiple vignettes, you know, that's the kind of the Creep Show format.
Right.
And it was during this vignette where this Native American like statue comes alive and murders people.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I've seen that one. Yeah.
So the first time it plays in that movie, it starts playing, and I'm like, I hadn't seen this movie since I was like probably 10 years old. So I was like, there's no way I remembered the melody, but the melody was extremely familiar to me. And I was like, what is this melody from? Like, you know, one of those tip of your tongue things.
Yeah.
And I thought about it and like finally figured it out, that it's 100% not like a coincidence stolen or in a Nile song.
Right.
They basically took that melody and just copied and pasted it into their song as like the chorus, but it works so well. I'm not even mad about it. There it is. Yeah, right there.
That's great.
So it's a cool ass melody, and I was just my mind was kind of blown when I figured it out, because like that movie came out in, I don't know, like 94 or so, who knows.
Yeah.
And that song was just kind of an obscure, like, it's not even from Creep Show 1, you know?
Yeah.
And I immediately started Googling it. I was like, Nile, Lash of the Slave Stick, Creep Show. And I think there's like one forum post from like 12 years ago where someone's like, hey, did we ever notice it kind of sounds the same? And I was like, oh. Anyway, so it was just one of those kind of crazy moments.
I was on like a family trip up in Dallas, like this big like.
And Richard was the first person I thought of to tell.
Like he fucking texted me this shit, and I was like, "Stop the party!" I have to fucking figure this out.
I've got to find a copy of Creepshow.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I was listening to it, and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking great. And I'm telling people there that like don't care.
Yeah.
But
it's like the nerdiest thing to be excited about, to be clear.
That's awesome.
But then it's like a confirmation. Like I for a while I was listening to like Jamie Josta's podcast and he would have like a segment on there of like, you know, did you steal the riff? Are these the same? Are they not, or whatever? And like someone fucking sent this in.
Oh wow.
So what I mean, like as
Nice.
like confirmation that you know there's someone out there in the ether that hears what you hear, Harrison.
That's awesome.
Great song though.
Oh, it's incredible.
I'm not even mad about it.
And so, but the reason I put something from In the Darkened Shrines on there, which I never got into that record so much, but I was listening to it a lot this week, and goddamn, that might be like my favorite. Like those might be like some of my favorite sounding drums, like ever recorded, is the drums on In Their Darkened Shrines. But I remember talking to you at some point years and years and years ago, and like talking about like precision, or like the role of like precision in metal, and like does it throw off how you're perceiving it? How precise does it need to be? And I remember you referencing like some of the early Nile records. I think specifically like In Their Darkened Shrines, and sort of being like, you know, it's like kind of sloppy. Yeah, I don't like it. It fucks up the way that I hear it, you know? And so whereas on Annihilation, which is like a year or two after, 2 years after,
like
but it's the first one they do with George Coleus. And so it's like ratcheted up a fucking level, and, you know, that's kind of where they stay the rest of their career. But I don't know. So do you still feel that way? Like when you listen to that era, does it, you know, have you softened on that? Is it just a concept, or?
I think so. I mean, I think that In Their Darkened Shrines is probably my favorite album of theirs.
Okay.
Actually. And I don't remember when we had this conversation, but it definitely sounds like something I would say, because that I am kind of a stickler about precision in music, that I think precision is like one of the major features of it. But the music on it, like my current stance on it is like the music is so fucking good and so creative and so atmospheric. And the riffs are incredible. The drumming is obviously incredible, even if it's not like necessarily quantized or whatever.
Right, because it's like the imperfection on there is like every once in a while there's two kick notes that are a little closer together than the other.
Yeah, it's so nitpicky. Like I'm such a piece of shit.
But
it's so
in
good.
the context of that music, I can hear it.
Yeah.
You know,
because it's so clean
It's
and
so
clear.
close to being perfect that it sticks out even
Exactly.
more.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes,
That's exactly right.
yes.
Yep.
Well, and part of this is like a refine. I wonder if it's because I think you could hear this like 10 years ago. I couldn't. I couldn't tell 10 years ago. But now, and I don't know if it's because I've done so much recording the past year, or like looking at the grid and actually editing drums. But now I can tell. Like now I can tell like things in like the Slipknot song, like the Disaster piece. Like I can tell where things get a little sloppy or whatever, and like I never heard that before, and I was like, oh, this is great, or whatever. Or I can like hear a spot in the Metallica in like Dyer's Eve where Lars doesn't start the double bass run until like a measure late, and shit like that, you know, like and I wouldn't have heard these things before. So like it's not nothing, like it's a real thing, you know. But yeah, like in Nile, it's like so on, you know, it's just so subtle. But it is like part of that medium, part of that expression, and you know. But we've been listening to like perfectly quantized, tech death. So now when you hear something that's like,
we're spoiled.
Yeah,
right.
Well, and that's the thing. Like there was a time when like double bass used to almost just be like an effect, right? Like it was just like the effect of going all out. And
Right. Yeah.
you know, and like now, you know, and it's like no. It's about playing that specific rhythm precisely, exactly as it needs to be, you know.
The fans expect perfection.
Yeah.
And they'll get it.
Right.
But
Right. That have you noticed that difference change in like the live setting? Because that's something I feel like I noticed is like
That's something we've talked about a few times.
yeah, like back in the mid 2000s, man, like you just, or like the 90s and up through the mid 2000s, like it's just like you just go out there, throw and go, and it's like if you were trying hard, fucking fine, But like now, you have to like be perfect.
Yeah.
Or your band sounds like shit.
Yeah, it's definitely keeping up with the Joneses situation, you know. And I think that like many I guess things where they like there's like a ratcheting. People are actually better now probably because the standards are higher. It's not like they're, you know, it's just like the expectations are.
Okay. I don't remember where we left off.
We're back.
Do you remember what we were saying?
Let's see. Nile, precision. Oh, yeah. And we had, you said you postulated that people are basically just better now.
Right. People started hearing things that were better, and that became their baseline.
That's absolutely.
And they just felt like they had to get there, and that just kept going and still going.
I talked about this before, but I remember talking to like fucking Eric Marotti, the current Suffocation drummer, and he was talking about like, you know, hearing records in like the late aughts that had been quantized and had been edited. He was like, "Fuck. I guess I just have to be that fucking good." Like he didn't know that a person wasn't playing that.
Yeah.
And so he's like, well, fuck. You know?
Yeah.
So he just practiced until he was that fucking good. And now he's that fucking good. Like that guy's perfect live, you know?
Scary.
And so whereas like I listened to like I paid money for Slayer's Decade of Aggression, which is one of the sloppiest record. Like Dave Lombardo's, like the Angel of Death break sounds like this.
Yeah.
Like that's what it fucking sounds like. It's embarrassing. And I'm like, yeah, man, you just have to try your hardest. That's good enough. So I didn't prioritize precision for a very, very long
I mean, it kind of doesn't matter. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's just that certain people like me, like I like the precision is a feature of the music that, absent it, isn't necessarily a worse product necessarily, but for me it adds a dimension to it that we've talked about that I latch onto, which is like the calculated and cold nature of metal that I actually really like a lot.
I like that about a lot of music. I understand.
Man, I think maybe it didn't matter sometime 15 years ago or something.
Oh, for sure.
And like maybe it doesn't matter with like certain kinds of metal.
Yeah.
Now, but I think it matters now more than ever because I think the audience, even the average listener, has now become accustomed to that.
Yeah.
Like I think it, you know, like if you get to that like double bass break, you know, or whatever, like, and it's not, and that blast beat's sloppy or it's not perfect. Like I think like the average concert goer might not be able to tell you what's wrong, but I think that
they can feel it.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
I'm imagining kids growing up now, not drums necessarily, but kids listening to like Polyphia now.
Oh God, yeah.
And then growing up 10 years from now, I'm like, that's just how they play? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Right. But it's gonna happen. I'm sure it's gonna happen.
Right. Yeah. I remember hearing a podcast with, I can't remember her name. She did a lot of Prince records.
The drummer.
No. Audio engineer, producer.
Oh, okay.
Producer. No, the drummer is Hannah Welton, I think. Anyway, whatever.
Can't remember
but she was talking about like calling these things performance gestures, and that like that's a thing that's an understood thing in classical music. You know, oh, you have a performance gesture. That's how that performer chooses to articulate, or how they happen to articulate that musical idea. And like working with younger audio students who have this ear that's set more for perfection. And you know, like talking about like, oh, well, that's just that drummer's performance gesture, you know, like to speed that fill up a little bit and then sink back in, you know, da. And she said it was interesting because talking to them, because they were like, oh, okay, that's interesting, that's nice, okay, that's cool, that makes sense, okay, cool, yeah, that sounds kind of neat. And she's like, so do you want to change it? And they're like, oh, well, of course. Like, because that's still what their ears are used to hearing.
Right.
Like they're geared towards that, you know. I remember talking to our audio engineer friend, Case. He was talking about vocalists, how that because of auto-tune, he was starting to hear more vocalists that would kind of go from one pitch directly to another pitch without sort of scooping in between.
Oh.
Which is like the more natural thing to do.
Right.
Like, but they would just go directly from one to the next,
Huh.
Stuff like that.
Fascinating.
So there's this interesting sort of, like as a symbiotic kind of, like there's a give and take relationship between those things, like you use a computer to like enhance your performance to this inhuman level, and then people hear it, and then that becomes the new baseline.
Exactly.
And it just kind of keeps ratcheting up,
It's an arms race.
Yeah.
And a legs race.
And a legs race.
A 3 legs race.
Got him. That's all, folks.
Okay, so then I put a song by Obscura. So they're kind of like I put them as kind of like a stand-in for Necrophagist, which I think you had introduced me to also. You or Taylor, I think. And because it's like half the band from Necrophagist that goes on to make.
I didn't realize that.
Oh yeah, it's the same drummer.
Oh.
I think it's the same guitarist. And whatnot. And I prefer Obscura to Necrophagist. It's more dynamic to me and whatnot. So that's why I put that on here as sort of like, because to me, it's the first real tech death. Because like, we've talked about this concept a few times, which is like what makes something sound dated is if people stop doing it. Okay. So if people, like what makes those certain kind of like electronic drums sound dated from the 80s is because people stopped.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I never thought of it that way.
And so sometimes you have this breakthrough record that's a huge influence on people, but you don't know if it's going to affect how things sound after it. Right? And so the Necrophagist record, which I think was around like 2006 or somewhere.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Around there. It was this record that everyone's like, oh my fucking God. Like everyone was fucking talking about it, But it wasn't clear that, that's the direction things are going.
Right, yeah.
Right.
And it didn't necessarily,
like it wasn't clear that it's like, oh, well, people are going to keep doing that thing. That's going to be this new subgenre of death metal. But I feel like once you get like Obscura doing Cosmogenesis or whatever, it's like, oh.
That was what, yeah.
Which is 2008-ish.
Yeah. 2008 felt like a very pivotal moment for a lot of reasons.
Yeah, because you had Obscene also that year.
Oh, that's right.
You had Those Whom the Gods Detest. You had Origins Antithesis. You had Faceless Planetary Duality.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big deal fucking year.
That's like when the modern era started.
In a lot of ways.
Yeah.
In a lot of fucking ways.
Interesting. Well, that makes sense though. I'm with you why you included that. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, it's a I don't know how did that track hit you?
As I was listening to this playlist, like some of it felt kind of familiar up to this point, but when it got to the Obscura track and then the Archspire track, I was just kind of like, whoa, kind of perked up a little bit. I was like, hello there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because these are so like the Obscura and the Archspire, like that stuff that would have been on the part 3 of the death metal the death metal episodes of me exposing you to,
Gotcha. I can see that.
So
it's pretty cool.
You weren't you discovered OT level 3 in Scientology before you finished OT levels 1 and 2.
Found some extra thetans somewhere.
Yeah, you're gonna have to be audited. But yeah, it was a pretty sick track. I mean, it definitely like makes sense. I actually didn't realize that there was the Necrophagist connection there, but it makes sense.
Yeah. And so okay. And then like Archspire, how did the Archspire hit you?
Kind of the same. It was just like, this is pretty fucking rad.
Yeah. So Archspire is like they upped the ante, like in a way.
It's always Canadians.
Yeah, man.
Bare naked ladies. That's kind of the only one, really. But Archspire, I guess.
Because they're always because they're like, yeah, man. If this works out or not, I know I can still go to the doctor. So let's go for it.
Roll
guys.
the dice. Roll the dice, boys.
Yeah, what do we got
Roll the dice, eh? Yeah, I mean they're just like we briefly touched on this idea in the last episode that I was on about sort of like the sort of natural endpoint or like progression of extreme metal. Like at a certain point, it just has to be as far as it could possibly go from a purely superficial extreme like speed and precision perspective. And like the example that I gave last time was like Lorna Shore.
Yeah.
Because they were kind of like, they weren't trying to be super technical necessarily. They were just trying to be like the most extreme in many ways. They were just kind of like, they took every element of metal other than like the extreme sort of precision technicality aspect of it, I guess. And they just went all the way to they sprinted to the end and said, we're going to have the slowest breakdowns and the fastest blast beats. But Archspire to me is like, it's like how I felt when I saw GoldenEye on Nintendo 64 for the first time. And I was like, graphics cannot possibly get any better than this. This is real life that I'm watching. That's how I feel when I listen to Archspire. I'm just like, they're the pinnacle and no one could possibly surpass them for what they do.
The Archspire. Yeah.
Absolutely.
As it were.
Absolutely.
It feels like what they did is different. Like they took a different approach because I saw someone.
They were the Half-Life to the GoldenEye. Okay.
Once I saw someone in like a comment thread, like these guys always like Archspire always felt like a watered down Origin to me, and I'm like, you're absolutely incorrect on all levels because they don't play in the same tempo ranges.
Right.
They play in completely different tempo ranges.
You pointed this out to me and it made me appreciate them in a whole new dimension after you did.
Yeah, because the thing is that because like Origin plays a lot at like the 230, 220 to 230, 240, like that kind of range, right? Very fast, like blast beats and all sorts. I mean, Origin's amazing, right? It's kind of stupid to compare the two, but it's almost like what Archspire did in this pursuit of like, well, we have to be unique, and so they were like, well, we're gonna play extreme technical death metal in the tempo range that no one plays it in.
No man's land.
Fucking 140 to 170. And like that's kind of where they fucking live. And the hardest tempos to play. And part of the reason they're able to, because this is part of the reason they're able to make those tempos sound as extreme as they are, is because their drummer, has like taken the artfulness of the gravity blast to absolutely new levels, to where he's able to use that beat, that musically in a way that no one else really can, or no one else really has up till him in the same ways, I don't think, or at least not at the level that he is or whatever. And then also he does like this kind of like this other kind of blast beat. It's like, it's technically, you could say it's like a suffo blast, but he's just doing it so fucking fast. Because like your suffo blast is normally like, like both hands are matched, right? But Spencer will do this thing. I can't do it. I can't really do it, but he'll go like do like 4 on this hand, like ga, and then he switches. All right, but he's going around the kit.
Weird.
You know what I mean? So, but like that becomes like that's like his like baseline. Like that's like his fucking like AC/DC beat.
Yeah. That's just instead of a hi-hat.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But like that's like chilling at like, like that like 140, 150-ish tempo.
And that tempo range is normally more of a mid-paced kind of range. It's not a fast.
Exactly.
For mere mortals, that would be kind of a slow pace and an awkward pace to play at. Yeah, that's kind of slow. Unless you think of it being all, one hand at a time.
Unless you think of it like, oh, this is it. This is 300 BPMs, not 150 BPMs,
Right.
Then it's way faster than you should be able to do what you're doing.
Yeah. It's like Nile will go like 250 BPM or whatever.
Right.
And they'll do it in a traditional sense.
Yes.
So Archspire is kind of in a way if they're doing 150, that's almost like they're doing 300 or whatever. It's
exactly.
like 'cause it's just twice as fast basically.
It really is.
So they went back to go further.
Right. But then on the guitars, they also up the ante because like there's like older school, like sort of like, or not older school, but there's bands that fuck around with that with like Brain Drill and shit like that.
True.
But on the guitar side of things, they also push that also into like the melodic, into like the sort of like the classical influences and whatnot, to where they even like quote like Mozart and shit like all the time and shit. And then they also turn the crazy dial on the vocals.
Yeah.
You know, to where the vocals are really unique and are really like hip hop inspired. They're really influenced by like technical rap or tech rap or whatever the fuck they fucking call it. You know, like this just really, really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
they're
so,
fucking freaks.
yeah. So it's like each fucking element is doing something unique, and then it all fits together.
And somehow it just doesn't feel like a novelty. It does not feel like, most of the time, like a lot of bands that use these techniques in the past, like you said, like Brain Drill or like Beneath the Massacre or these other bands, are like, they were like fun bands, but like they were like bubblegum, you know, you took a piece and it immediately went like, you know, tasteless. And you never wanted to chew it again or listen to it again. But with Archspire, like I genuinely want to like re-listen to the songs a lot because there's so much going on, but in an artful way, a creative way, and a musical way that it's just no one else is doing it like them.
Yeah. Instead of like, this is the one band that does this weird thing. It's like, here's a band that took some of these things and made something out of it.
Exactly. Right. Yeah.
Cool.
Right.
And they don't take themselves that seriously, which I love too.
All the better.
And they easily could, but they're just goofing off like on stage. It's good.
Oh yeah. Like they were wearing like fucking like. Did they come out like wearing like Bucky's?
Yeah, the singer was wearing a Bucky's like you know like sleeveless shirt.
Great.
Right?
Yeah, because we saw him back in April.
Yeah.
I think again another one of those concerts where we tripped over each other.
Yeah. Oh, you're here. That makes sense that you're here.
Yeah.
Of course you're here.
Oh, I don't want to. I see Harrison over there. I don't want to be weird and like be like, hey man, are you here? So I'm just gonna hang back and just like, you know, watch Archspire for the rest of the show, and I'll say hi to him afterwards.
I don't want to be weird, so I'll like stare at this guy during this concert.
I've been watching you
because it's like I can't like go up to him and fucking talk to him right now while anyone's playing because he can't understand me. So I'm just gonna like be here and not be. Oh, he's turning around. I'm gonna turn around. This is a thing that I do.
awkward.
Yeah. Because I don't know if anyone else does. Like I see people in public that I recognize often, and I'm like, I'm not up for that right now.
Oh, same.
So I pretend that I don't see them, you know, just keep walking.
Same.
So I had a whole other slew of fucking things that I wanted, like concepts and whatnot to pick apart and whatnot. So I'm just gonna hit on one.
Let's do it.
So another concert that we saw each other at randomly was Ryan Adams.
Yeah.
And so this is a fascinating one because we walked out of there and Allison and I had a terrible time at this concert.
I think I've heard about this concert.
You have.
Okay.
And it was solely based on we felt like Ryan Adams was being a douchebag. And like we walk out and I see you, you know, sitting out and I'm like, oh, fuck, hey, Harrison, blah, 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 blah. And you were like, so what do you think of the show? I'm like, man, fuck that asshole. You know, or I say some shit like that. And you were like, well, but the music sounded so good. Like all of the stuff that like affected me so much, that affected my perception, you didn't care about at all. Was how it felt.
I remember this. Yeah.
Like it didn't matter to you at all. Like what he said in between the songs, like he could have said literally anything. You didn't care. And you're like, the band sounded so fucking good. The songs were so well played.
And I recognized that he was being a douchebag. Mm-hmm. And he is a douchebag, like, by the way. Like, he's like a bad person.
Right, yeah. Because there were like some accusations of like grooming.
Yeah, he's just, apparently he's just like a toxic person to be in a relationship with.
Yeah, grooming might not be the right word. Whatever it was, look it up. It's shitty.
Yeah, I unfortunately, like, we don't have to get into the, you know, hate the artist, love the art debate necessarily, but like, yeah, his music is fucking awesome and he's genius. But yeah, I definitely recognize that he was being a douchebag and like being very like I don't know, butthurt about random bullshit that didn't seem important.
And this big ironic amp.
Yeah,
you know.
But the moment he would
folk music, but see this amp, it's as tall as the fucking building. Is it just silly?
But the moment he would go into the song and the band would kick in, I was just like, oh man, this is so good.
I still love that one, the one album that song is from. I came across in a very weird way where a friend of a friend needed a drummer, and so I went for the rehearsal, and the guy whose band it was like, well, this is what I'm into. So listen to this, just listen to this, and this is the vibe I'm going for. And he gave me like a Ryan Adams CD and then like a live Wilco CD or something like that. This was like 2006, some shit like that. So that was like my exposure.
Did you ever get into Ryan Adams?
I don't know who he is. Whenever I think of Ryan Adams, number one, I think about Bryan Adams, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
But number two, I associate him with John Mayer for some reason. It's the same type of dude, maybe?
I could see that.
Same
I don't
era,
know.
Like
Okay.
Ryan Adams was like the more like indie Americana version of John Mayer in a sense, you know.
He wrote some songs that went on to become like top 40 country hits for other artists.
Oh, okay.
Like When Stars Go Blue. Dancing when the stars go blue. I don't know. You guys have probably heard it like on the radio at like Ace Hardware. But like, so he wrote a couple of songs that like made mega million hits, but he himself has put out like 50 albums, and he's just kind of known as like a singer-songwriter, like a of our time type of guy. But
right. But the whole like, separating the art from the artist, I think it is an interesting, I don't know. I think that's an interesting thing. And that's one of the examples that I think about, like specifically with you, because like you experienced more joy that evening than I did, right? Because you were able to like separate it in a sense, or like you weren't invested in his character. Like you didn't need to feel like he was a person that you liked to be able to enjoy the art. And I've always felt like I needed to. Yeah. In a sense. I know there's plenty of douchebags that I've given a pass to, like once I'm already like into their music or whatever. Yeah.
But I think that the way that you experienced that night is probably better. Even though, I mean, what's good, what's bad, nobody knows.
Tides go in, tides go out.
You can't explain that. But like, I think it's probably better to like have a visceral reaction to someone being a douchebag and like having that color your interactions and perceptions of them. If it leads the world to a like less, harmful place as a result, because like even though it's probably small, the like my support of like Ryan Adams might incidentally make it easier for people like him to continue to like be harmful to other people,
Well, let's think of an example where someone hasn't like actually been accused of crimes, like Dave Mustaine, for instance. So like Dave Mustaine's personality greatly affects my ability to enjoy his music that I didn't already enjoy before I heard him speak in an interview.
True, but it doesn't hurt that he made a lot of shitty music though after that point. But also a point taken.
Yeah, I guess there is a difference between just like being a person you wouldn't want to hang out with and like actually being accused of a crime.
Right. Like now that we know, like, oh, well, Ryan Adams is actually doing like really nasty, manipulative, toxic shit to people. Yeah. It does kind of color that. But like, oh, someone's just a raging douchebag. Like I can like listen because like a new Megadeth record just came out and some of my friends, oh, new Megadeth's great. I'm like, I'm sure it is. Mm-hmm. I have no doubt. I won't listen to it.
Couldn't be me.
I'm not going to listen to it. You know what I mean? I heard like half a song on accident. I'm like, yeah, it's great. Whatever. Skip. I don't, you know what I mean? Like I have no.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's not an enjoyable experience because like I know the person attached to that voice and I'm like, fuck that dude. I do not like Dave Mustaine for a variety of reasons. Mm-hmm. And so, but he's not hurting from that. You know what I mean? Like I'm missing out on some killer metal maybe, right? I don't know. It's just I don't know. It's interesting to consider, I guess.
There's definitely some like Buddhist quote about like poisoning yourself by hating someone else. I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I guess my take on that is generally like if something like that does affect you, like it did you with Ryan Adams, like then let it affect you. But otherwise, like both of those things can be true.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Like there's not a right or a wrong way.
Like you can still like the music just fine, and you can also be like, dude's a fucking asshole. So.
Right. Like you shouldn't feel obligated to give someone money that you think is an asshole.
No.
Like, but you also, shouldn't feel like obligated to like, well, man, I know he's a dick, but I really like this thing that he makes. And if you like the thing, then fine, whatever. I guess.
It just depends.
Yeah. All right, I think you need to get out of here.
Yeah, but we should continue the conversation at some point, even if it's like remote or something. I'd be down. For
sure, yeah, because there's some sort of like some things in here that I think would be worth really digging into, like the Metallica stuff.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Dyer's Eve. I have a lot to say about that album. And
so maybe we can just do a remote, just because there's so and even because one of the things I wanted to sort of touch on too. Because like there's these general concepts of like precision and also like the artist throwing the audience curveballs, and you could talk about that just within the context of Nile.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean? Because there was the album like At the Gates of Setu that everyone was pissed about, which is like one of my favorites, because they had some clean singing. Oh God, everyone fucking died because there's clean singing in a death metal album. But like. Metallica will always be the best band to talk about those kind of concepts with, because they did all those concepts to 11,
I finally heard some of Lulu recently, and boy, was that a mistake.
It's interesting, at least.
Save it for the Lulu episode.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's gonna be.
I don't know,
man. I definitely want to participate in any Metallica discussions if I can, because don't wait for me, but I would love
wait
to.
For me.
Too much.
The only other thing I'll mention about this playlist real quick is like when it got to the faded line, I just like went and grabbed my guitar, just played along with it, and then just put it back down and listened to the rest of the playlist.
That song's so good. That song is so fucking good. Okay. Here's one crazy fucking thing I want to fucking talk about. So this is just me being petty, and this is just some gossip shit, okay? So current events, COVID, vaccinations, all that sort of stuff. Lamb of God and Opeth present two very interesting dichotomies there, because Opeth lost their drummer because he wouldn't, like, they had to fire their drummer because he wouldn't get vaccinated. Okay. Martin Axelrod or whatever, the guy who plays in Bloodbath and all that sort of shit. He's been in Opeth for fucking 15 years or some shit like that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So he didn't want to get the vaccine, so they have a new drummer now.
Damn, dude.
Similarly, Lamb of God, Willie Adler doesn't want to get the fucking vaccine. So now whenever they do international dates, Phil Demmel from Machine Head, former Machine Head guitarist, he fills in for Willie on all of their, on all of those dates. And so what's fascinating to me about that is like, this is the difference between when someone is like legally part owner of the band name.
Oh, interesting.
Right.
That's a interesting point.
So it's like
I hadn't even considered that. I'm like, just fucking kick him out.
Yeah.
That sounds like you're bending over pretty far backwards here, but that makes sense.
Yeah, you're having to pay someone else to fucking play these fucking guitar parts. Wow. Just fucking get rid of him.
He should start an unvaccinated supergroup with the Opeth dude and like Stephen Carpenter from Deftones.
Oh, dude.
Oh no.
I'm sure there's a bass player out there.
Dude, Steve, he did the same shit. He's not playing international shows.
Yeah.
Stephen Carpenter.
That makes sense.
You know
it's
what
probably
I mean?
the same contractual, bullshit.
Right. But it's like, Willie Adler owns certainly owns part of the name and the business of Lamb of God.
Right.
So, but Martin didn't own shit in Opeth probably. So
Other shareholders couldn't vote him out, I guess.
Yeah.
Damn shame.
Okay, well, unfortunately, okay, I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. Whatever. We're here, so I'm gonna ask you this. Okay, so we've talked about a lot of metal shit. I wanted to ask you real quick. What are some of your biggest non-metal influences? Because that's a thing. I put like the Grizzly Man soundtrack on here.
Oh yeah.
For a variety of reasons. But one of the things is like we've talked about all the metal shit and all the post-rock stuff you do, but you also do all that. And you can do like that kind of like Americana, vibe, and you can do it really authentically and extremely well. And so where does that come from for you? Like your, like non-metal influences on guitar playing and stuff.
I definitely credit William, our friend William Hesser, for getting me into a lot of non-metal stuff, like Trail of Dead, Godspeed You Black Emperor, and Mogwai, like lots of like more artistic indie rock bands and post rock bands.
Okay.
And also being in bands with William, who was always like a very eclectic musically kind of guy. We were in a band called Ghost Town Electric for a while, which is kind of like a stoner rock kind of band, and that sort of forced me to get in more into like bluesies type stuff that I didn't really play much of. Okay. Just because that was like what he wanted it to sound like, and so I was like, okay, I think I can probably do that. And so just like kind of being around people like him has helped me a lot. Mike Malay, the other guitarist for Cavernous, is probably one of the most creative guitar players I've ever played for or with. And he was like very much into just like rock and roll. He didn't really like metal. And so he was like very much coming from a rock and roll place that forced me to like, think about more. And so I've had a lot of people that I hung out with that weren't really big metalheads and that wasn't really their jam, or like it was just one of their jams out of many jellies. But yeah, for me, like I think I always was really into a lot of stuff, but metal always felt like home to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, like for a while there, like I was obsessed with like Godspeed You Black Emperor and Mogwai and like Tortoise and all these like mostly instrumental post-rock bands with like 20-minute long songs.
Right.
Which is kind of the opposite of metal in some ways.
Sure. I did almost put a Godspeed track on here because we were at Godspeed concert together also. Yeah. So, but
I don't know where that came from necessarily, but I think a lot of it has to do with people like William that were in my life.
So you being in those musical situations and sort of kind of being like just thrown in it and sort of like pushed to, like, okay, we'll make this work.
Yeah, like it's like the context in which you're exposed to things also matters, So like he and I, we'd be in high school and we would just be like joyriding around in his mom's like Toyota Camry, and he would just play something for me, and like it was like, this is called Godspeed You Black Emperor, and we listened to it on a drive out to like Crab River Road way out in Sugarland on this like dead end road that goes past an old power plant, and the sun was setting, and it was just this very like surreal kind of epic moment that happened to just coincide perfectly with the music. And it just kind of allowed me to absorb it in a way that maybe otherwise I might have been bored or something like that.
Right.
But I was like feeling the moment and the music. It was just like really coinciding. So there's like a lot of probably things like that that happened to me. But
that's a really
sweet,
beautiful, like, because that's a thing that kind of like personal, that kind of very like personal, like an experience, and then also like a social relationship exposing you to the music. Like, this is important to me, and I think this will be cool to listen to right now.
And I mean, I think a lot of people who get into metal, they start from like classic rock. That's kind of like, for me at least, like
Black Sabbath,
my gateway to metal was like Led Zeppelin, probably. Okay. And if you listen to like Zeppelin and Hendrix and some of the artists from that era, some of the stuff that they did kind of ventured into like the more experimental stuff they did. Like there's it's almost like you were talking about with Death. There's like certain like what's the word, like snippets or pieces or ideas that were prevalent or not prevalent, but like hinted at almost in classic rock like Zeppelin and Hendrix that I think I pulled that thread and I pulled other threads,
Okay.
and I sort of pulled threads in all kinds of different directions. So it wasn't like the Zeppelin thread just led me straight to Black Sabbath, which then led me straight to Metallica, which then led me to Pantera. That was one thread that I pulled.
Yeah.
But then there's like Dazed and Confused is kind of psychedelic and like slow, and that maybe I pulled that thread towards, noise. Eventually it ended up at noise music, like Merzbow or whatever.
Or like, you can pull like the Baby I'm Gonna Leave You thread, and end up in like a kind of like a folk and like indie rock, almost a punk
Iron and
rock.
Wine, or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like learning a lot of Led Zeppelin songs on guitar too, like made me interested in like hearing other artists who played similar stuff. So I think if I had to trace it back, it'd just be like classic rock and then branching off a bunch of different directions from there.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Put a name on it, but
that makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna let you get
cool.
So
well, yeah, thanks for doing this, and we'll do it again soon, hopefully.
Yeah, man. Thanks for
totally, man.
Thanks for making Remind You Dance card.
Yeah, man. It was fun.
All right. Adios.